Futures back in positive territory here this morning as we get going on a Tuesday ahead of the first of big tech earnings to come after the close tonight. We'll hear from Microsoft and AMD to kick things off in what a week it's going to be for earnings coming through. Speaking of this morning, we do have a couple to talk about. SOFI, a nice move so far this morning, 2.8% to the upside. PayPal, even bigger than that. 8.3% above $64 there on a bit of a pullback right now, both with better than expected results. We'll touch on those coming up here. Just keep in mind, coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, some notable economic data coming through. Jolts, first off, Jolts job openings for June. 8.14 million expected there. Again, that's at 10 o'clock. The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index as well. That can move the market if it's one way or the other unexpectedly. 100.4 expected there for the Consumer Confidence Index there coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. That's about it for today. We will get, obviously, the Fed coming up tomorrow afternoon. Jerome Powell will take to the microphone. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Tomorrow afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Make sure you're with us. We'll bring that to you live. We'll see what he has to say. I mean, so much riding on this, I think, at this point.
And as you said, off-camera NFPs at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Anything else want to join in this week? Yeah, lots to talk about. Lots of earnings. Can't wait for that. The first of them coming up today. As Brendo mentioned, PayPal really doing well on earnings, beating on basically every metric you can think of and adding users, which really surprised me. Pfizer also reporting overnight. Looks like they are past their COVID hangover, ready to expand their product line and move forward there, Brendo. So good luck.
Yeah, a lot to consider here, guys, as we get into things on a Tuesday here. Just hearing a note on Uber popping up here, possibly. Not a lot of volume, but positive anyways. Yeah, a little bit of a move there for Uber back to the positive side. But PayPal, the big mover so far on a nice beat here, 8% right now.
Yes, sir. Welcome, everybody. PayPal looking good up that 8%. We're not going to talk about Tilray being up 8%. No. Tilray reported this morning as well. They're up a little bit better than SOFI, which it's hard to be excited about SOFI 2.5%, but I'm sure we'll find a way to do that. Don't sleep on the chip names. NVIDIA, it turns out that we find out who Apple was going to when they were going to Google. So that's actually weighing on NVIDIA here. With the market slightly up, NVIDIA's down like 0.1%. And after losing key support and a pretty big resistance level, rejecting again at 117, NVIDIA is going to be on the radar for a pop and fade. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. We always talk about the big cap tech names. Oh, everyone's waiting for AMD. Everyone's waiting for Microsoft. Later in the week, we're going to get the other big two, Apple, Amazon. But, things like PayPal, which is broken out resistance, which, it's pretty much at the expected move and now climbing higher. Previous resistance is 62. Like a stock that's broken a pretty decent downward trend since the last earnings. Yeah, this is going to be big time in play today. Volume's already hitting 3 million, passing 3 million shares pre-market. So you got to go to where the stocks are moving. And this is going to be a mover today. Dragging some things up in sympathy, like Square's up today on sympathy. Firm got an upgrade. So the payment companies are looking good today. Although SOFI, I'm saying SOFI is a disappointment. Up 2 points.
Yeah,
that's a disappointment.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I think that today sucks, to be honest with you. SOFI's super No, I mean, Brendan started with SOFI news, but it's true. It's a good move, but it's a third of the expected move. It's moving 3%. We were hoping for 9%. PayPal's moving exactly the percentage that it was supposed to, 8%. Tilray's going to come right back down with no volume. Like, there's nothing. NVIDIA's flat today. Apple's flat today. The market's flat today. I don't know. I don't have anything on my radar, to be honest with you. Tesla's doing the same kind of stuff. I turned over to Sharif and I said, this so far to me, and I've missed 6 or 7 days with vacation this month. This has been the worst opening so far, in my opinion, with the least amount of opportunities here today. But, I'm just trying to keep it real. I don't see a whole heck of a lot. I do like Tesla. I think this is going to be one of the #1 ideas. I wrote down TQQ there. But yeah, really disappointing, honestly. Like, SOFI comes in here. We're all talking about it. We're expecting something. And then moving 3%. What is that, an intraday move? Like, there's nothing here at all for me. SOFI being up 20 cents is not important enough. So for me, it's a hard pass. Yeah, maybe CrowdStrike.
Crowd lost major support at 250 after this Delta thing.
Yeah, there could be something with CrowdStrike there, but again, this company is such a small company to begin with. I mean, it's not even, it's like a drop in the pond. If you're going to trade something like this, that's great too. I mean, there could be some excitement here. And CrowdStrike, we've traded it really well when we did that one day, maybe 2 days. So yeah, man, I'm definitely not excited today. I will not be putting a lot of risk into anything pretty much unless something sets up. But for right now, it's a puff pass on pretty much all the ideas. I mean, I like Tesla. We'll talk about them. I like Uber. So there's a few new names on my mind here, but yeah, it's not a super exciting day.
See, it's on ARCA.
We're just sifting through some crypto stuff here. GBTC, for anyone paying attention, GBTC down huge here this morning to the tune of about 11%. This thing closed at $60 yesterday. We're all the way down here at 53. So just reading this note from Grayscale Investments. So they've launched something called the Grayscale Bitcoin Mini Trust, which is going to be listed on the NYSE Arca exchange as BTC. So now there'll be GBTC and BTC. So the record date for this distribution is today. So BTC, a mini version of GBTC, it looks like, for Grayscale.
I'm not really understanding a whole lot behind this. And I don't understand why they have it in a trust and not an ETF format now that the ETF has been approved. We've seen this company with net outflows. It typically goes into IBIT, Fidelity, ARCs, as well as Bitwise. I was listening to one of the chief operating officer of Bitwise talk about net inflows, and they're an originator as well. They were not new to the scene. So I really don't understand a whole lot behind this, but I haven't had an opportunity to read it either, Brendo.
Yeah, I mean, this makes a little bit of sense. So the ratio of GBTC shares to BTC shares is 1-to-1. The percent of Bitcoin held by GBTC contributed to the BTC trust is 10%.
I see.
So it's, I mean, the math does work out there, I think. But yeah, guys, BTC, now a mini version.
Math kind of works out. Like if you look at that GBTC, you pull it up, you just had it up, it's like 11% down, right? So, 11 and change to the downside, and then just throw up like an IBIT, right? And then you'll see IBIT is down like 1. So if you're looking at GBTC for whatever reason, just understand that it's got like that 10% haircut built in. It's only really down 1 point. That's what we're actually seeing happen over there in Bitcoin. And really, the story yesterday for Bitcoin was when you pop that, I had the daily up for this, but it was like all we did is hold the trend, like great rally in Bitcoin, but we just held this upper band of the trend line, which is lower highs, and we never really tagged that 70.5 or 70,600 level, and that's where we need to break it out. It's not necessarily concerned about the individual levels. You just want to break this little lower high trend. So a bit of a pullback yesterday as that got tested. We'll see if a higher low comes with it and then a trend breakout. I think once we start breaking out above that 70,000 in this trend line on Bitcoin, that'll get me excited for the next wave. Until then, sort of thinking dip buys, I suppose. Find that next support, looking like it could be 63.3, somewhere in that range. I don't know if we're going to get there, but that's what looks like the next support line. So, it's always good to know what's going on. You don't want to freak out if you have GBTC. You understand that you're absolutely fine. It's only down 1%, although I always hate saying it's down 1% because it's a 24-hour market. But yeah, we got to break that trend line in the top in Bitcoin. That's what's next. And I think once that happens, you can get a secondary wave. You saw Coinbase reject that mid-60s level. You saw Mara struggle to get through 23. I think until we break this out, you kind of have to be looking for some dip buy opportunities. And the aforementioned Coinbase, my daily chart wants to join the party here. Yeah, like Coinbase just recently rejected like those mid-60s. It's in the middle. It's right at the 50-period moving average. It's kind of diddling in the middle here. Maybe we retest the obvious 210 support somewhere down there. We'll have to see. But if we're breaking back out that top on Bitcoin, then I think it's back into the longs for Coin, Mara, all the good stuff.
And we talked about some of these coins moving around, and you still have underperformance in Ethereum right here. The last 24 hours down 1%, Bitcoin down 5%. Ethereum on the week still down 5. Bitcoin just going red now. So yeah, I mean, it's up and down, right? We talk about this over and over and over again on the show. What goes up must also come down unless it's USDC. Thank you, Ramin. Cheers. Hope it's vodka. All right. This is the voice of passion. Unfortunately, we had another practice last night, and you know how that stuff goes. Right there. All right. Let's just keep on, keep trucking along right here. Yeah, look, I mean, we talked about Mara yesterday. We talked about Coinbase yesterday. We nailed the levels absolutely to the penny. We nailed 23 and we nailed 255, but we were looking for a breakout. And yesterday it was it was those levels. I mean, how huge were they? Here's 23 right here. We have it written down, 23 Mara. It's just, it faded. So we got to just put our mind the other way. I was looking one way, you know, and I was looking 255 Coinbase. I mean, they're both written right here. Here's 255 Coinbase. That was the high. Mara, 23 was the high. We didn't take either one of them because they didn't break. They came right up to it. I mean, Coinbase might have broke by 20 cents in the first couple of candles. We're not taking that. And then there's the move down. So I don't know. I not excited to trade these today. But Mara down here at 20 is something. I mean, you can't, hard to ignore that as we fade back into some of these levels. So if crypto can start to go again, I like 20 back in, move this water to see what I can see here. 19, so that's 20. Yeah. This is to me is looking good. If we like the breakout 323, I should like the support here at 20. And if crypto starts to move to the downside now, then I think you can break 20 and get lower than that. So yeah, pretty excited to trade these names. I started the show saying I was disappointed with everything, but now that I see some of these crypto names, and it's not moving that much, but we're at a key level. So we'll see if something can happen here with Mara.
All right, Firm, another one moving around here this morning. Bank of America with positive note, upgrading AFRM to a buy, bullish on profitability targets and the target increase for them as well. Just testing the highs right now here for a Firm. Nice move after a couple of choppy days. Downside last week, though.
Yeah, not a bad look over here. Yeah, boosting that rating from neutral to buy, as you said, basically detailing medium-term profitability framework in November, which appears to be achievable according to this brokerage. Most of the brokerage believes that Q4 results as well would be positive, as there's a catalyst which could help push profitability higher. An average rating of 17 brokers have this one as a hold, and the price target, the median price target there is 37 right now, so we'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah, I mean, if you zoom out, it's still kind of nowhere here. We've been in this downtrend on the daily chart for quite some time, all the way back to the beginning of the year. You got to go all the way out to August 22nd, guys, to hear from a Firm.
Yeah, we'll get them a little bit later on. Look, actually, the upgrade, upgrades, downgrades aren't always the best catalyst, but you throw in 10% short float, the fact that it's already up on sympathy to PayPal, and it's hard not to have a Firm on your radar. The 50 period's all the way at 30. There's not a lot of resistance on this chart, so you get like the $34. Like, that's obvious. I mean, if by some minor miracle, and it's not a minor miracle, I'm just being facetious, we get to $34 on a Firm, like that would be a short this week. You talk about resistance on the daily, it's a 200 pre-moving average, but there's a lot of room for it to get there. And it just broke, for the last couple of days high. Friday's high, Monday's high, back in here at 27.60. So looking at this, it's hard not to like dips holding into Friday's and yesterday's highs. We like support turning into resistance and vice versa. The volume's only okay, but a Firm has this habit of knowing how to get going. I think it'll be on the back burner radar there. I'm going to like CrowdStrike today, and I actually, you have to pick and choose. Like, CrowdStrike's at a key level breaking. I love the catalyst, but they're both about 5 points. The level 2s I'm going to have up right now. It's like NVIDIA, CrowdStrike, PayPal. I might add a Firm to the list, but I think that should be reserved for Tesla, even though it's not going crazy right now, given the move that it had yesterday. Those are kind of the four I like. I think a Firm at this 27.5, 27.60 would come in next. I do like the short float. Catalyst doesn't matter to me. It's that it's trying to fill in the gap more than anything else that would be appealing.
So the trades that I have looking at here today, it's going to be pretty simple. Seems like a slow day. You have to have patience. I really like, I heard Brendan, I didn't have my earpiece in, but I think he highlighted Uber. So I like Uber there today breaking down. I really like to look at that chart. We will do that in a minute. I like the Tesla long. I like the TQs, right? I mean, we're going to start off the month with big trades on the TQs and the futures. We'll see if we can end it right here today. I said possible break in front of big tech earnings. So let's see if we can go long there. And then I like the PayPal long at 62 if we can pull back into that level as well. So yeah, there are trading ideas for sure. I'm not super amped up about, I mean, we will talk about PayPal, so I'm not going to go over it too much, but that continues to move higher. Affirm, SOFI, pretty disappointing. I mean, Affirm is good, but I feel like SOFI is a little disappointing there, and Affirm is a stock that we trade, but I don't know. It's not really at any levels where I'm going to put on huge shares. So
I think SOFI went 10% the last 2 earnings.
Yeah, they did.
Huge,
SOFI, I mean, I'm not
disappointment.
even looking at SOFI today. It won't even show up on my screen until we talk about it. Square right here up 3%, so this is something as well, trying to go back up to the upside. And look, I just take all this from the amazing guests that we have on the show, right? Like when we had Danielle Shea on, and she's like, if you don't even come close to the numbers that are expected, it's going to be, you know, not overly exciting to trade. And since I've been looking at that kind of stuff, that's exactly how it's come through. So look, this month, man, we're here. You know, we're trying to get here. I'm not going to go to here. You know, like I'm putting good money after good money, and that's what we're going to try to do here today. If there's nothing to trade, there's nothing to trade. I mean, I may like channel my inner, you know, Obi kind of thing and look for, you know, the best opportunity. Normally we take 4 or 5 trades in a day. We'll see what happens here today. Still excited. I mean, if some of the levels can hit. Tesla was such a banger yesterday. Easily the trade of the day for me. We had a 28 break, ripped it up there. It's kept going, and it's going higher here today. I really like that one. And then P&L number 2 for me yesterday was ARM. And what an easy, and this is what I mean. Yesterday, how easy was this? You know, I don't see an easy trade like this today yet. You know, this was the easiest, I said this yesterday when it came in, easiest trade of the month was this ARM trade. It came in into 150, a level that we knew we liked. We had marked it down. It's a key level. It didn't break it. It didn't even come close to give you a scare. Okay, it went to 94s, right? We were short 87s or something. It was like not even a problem. We had 50 cents worth of risk to this name, and it gave us $9. So, I mean, I don't see anything like that. If you guys see something that sets up, you know I'll be here to take it. Drop it in the chat. You know, drop it like it's hot. Yeah, that's right, Fabian.
We were just talking about CrowdStrike here, guys. More downside possible today for CRWD. We're gapping through, it's notable, we're gapping through that low from last week, the bottom end of that initial move downside. Reports this morning suggesting Delta is going to see compensation over this IT outage. I was just reading here, 2,200 flights were canceled on July 19th alone. And then overall, 6,000 have been canceled since then. So that's, I mean, we were just talking, that's something that will definitely show up on the earnings report for Delta.
No question about it. I mean, Brendo estimated right now the damage just to Delta, $350 million to $500 million in damage. They've received about 176,000 refund applications. So to basically get around that, they've hired a lawyer by the name of David Boyes. This person, he represented the U.S. government in their antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft in the 90s, many high-profile legal battles. And just to give you some context about how damaging this CrowdStrike outage was, for the Fortune 500 companies, excluding Microsoft, the damage is set to be, so far, Brendo, $5.5 billion.
That's crazy. We're through 253. Trying to bounce right now, guys, though, for CrowdStrike.
Yeah, it was down 5%. Now it's only down 3%. But you know, this happened last week as well, where you've still been trying to find a bottom on CrowdStrike, regardless of the news. Since this happened, you gapped down. You tried to bounce off the first day. It was good. A couple of times into 75, lost the low. Now tried to find a new bottom at 250. Couldn't really break it out past 265. And now you're getting another new low. So if that's the case, in the day following that gap down, we essentially, the stock established a 265 offer. So I'm just looking to find the offer today. If it's 50, it's 50. If it's a previous close, it's a previous close. I'm looking to short pops in CrowdStrike as they're under more pressure here, Randy. Oh, come on. He gone.
I like the blue.
I wonder why. See, but that's more teal. Sean's is more teal, actually. It's a little tinge of teal. You can't pick it up on camera.
I can't pick it up in person.
You see it.
It's light blue.
Yeah.
This is light blue. Yours is like a gray blue. Yeah. There's yeah, your wife is colorblind? Okay. My wife. Oh, your wife says you're colorblind. Okay.
I'll do the colorblind.
So maybe you would think this was not light blue. Pink, yeah. Look, CrowdStrike, I'll take another one, sure. I mean, it's getting
I'll
cold,
take one.
getting cold at this point. I get Neil his first coffee because
this one's already cold. Yeah, mine's cold.
Yeah, walking around on crutches still over here. All right, so look, I don't know. Like I said, pretty muted, but you know, I tried to catch a falling knife in this one. I mean, I'm invested in this now. It was 265, so we're going to be underwater on this investment. I don't know. We'll see about CrowdStrike. They're such a small. Their market cap's like 60 billion. It's not even that big of a deal. But you are starting to break lower. And honestly, I don't think we buy this one until it breaks back above like this 280 mark. So I think CrowdStrike's in trouble for a little bit here. Microsoft, it's a rounding error. You know, whatever. Sue them for whatever you want. Really, it's not going to matter. So I don't expect this to hit Microsoft at all, and it's not. So it's a nothing story for Microsoft, but it is definitely one for CrowdStrike. So, you know, that's just one company, Delta. There was 10 to 20 or so bigger companies affected that could similarly line up like a Delta. But at the end of the day, you know, it'll get settled out. I heard that many of the analysts are saying between $350 to $500 million worth of damages or so Delta will be looking for. So I don't know. We'll see how that eventually affects this name. But again, quite the big market cap. And it's already been hit from 400 all the way down into 250. So at some point, I think it comes back a little bit. But all right, I'm going to assume that we're getting ready to throw it to Adara at the big screen.
Good chance.
We have both PayPal and SOFI reporting earnings this morning, but another payment name kicking off the upgrade side of things. It's a firm up almost 5%, getting this upgrade from BofA Securities. We have 3M after their earnings last week, getting an upgrade here from Argus. ASML getting an upgrade from Barclays, up about 2.5%. And on Semi, they had earnings yesterday. They're getting an upgrade here from TD Cowen. On the downgrade side of things, RBC Capital Markets downgrading BMO. We have Novavax getting a downgrade from JP Morgan Chase. You can read more about this one on our watch list, but they basically are thinking that the SOFI deal is not going to be enough to quell some of the concerns they have with NVAX. So this is an interesting one here. We have Whirlpool getting a downgrade from BofA Securities, and last but not least, TD Cowen downgrading Sage Therapeutics, guys.
Yeah, you know what? Like ASML is bouncing pretty decently. Like they got hit on their earnings. All the chip names have pulled back. There's all the China risk, obviously, which is a big deal for them. Like everyone talks about it in terms of, Intel and NVIDIA has got the concerns with China, but ASML is really affected by this. And obviously, you like to buy stocks at good levels. If I zoom out further, the 200 period eventually comes in there. There you go. Now you can see the 200 period moving average. Like this is literally hovering and holding like 850, 860 on the 200 period. If you're ever trading it, just remember it primarily trades in Amsterdam, so volume kind of shuts off at 11:30. Not shuts off, but just goes down drastically. This is a stock. You know what? I keep saying I'm buying this one at the 200 period. It's like been sitting here for a few days. I think I'm going to pick this one up in my personal account. But the other name out there, this is not really a day trading stock. But NVAX, look, Novavax can be. I don't care what the catalyst is for Novavax. We've seen this do 10, 20, 25% days have been in play. And it's starting, like it just broke down after being in a bit of an upward trend. I think it's got a chance. Since it held the 50 period, it's going to be right at the bottom of this kind of like trend line. If this loses $14 today, Novavax gets under 14 and falls apart, that would be nasty. But it's got some support down here, and it's going to be short sell restricted. So if there's a support level at an even dollar and it's down 10% and it's a short float name like Novavax is, then it's in play for an SSR bounce down around 14 and these lows down here at 1380. If we get a shot at it, maybe it gets there, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, there's no trade. It's kind of like the breakouts yesterday. A bunch of stuff didn't break out and you didn't take it. If Novavax doesn't get to support, then I don't try a long bounce on it. But down 11% on this stock, I'll double check the short float after a sip of my coffee, but I'm pretty sure it's still decently high.
All right, this is the name. I mean, I like that ASML look. I think I like lots of stuff in the chip space. I mean, I like Texas Instruments. Don't really like, well, I mean, I like Intel if it gets down a little bit to certain levels there. What's up, Elico? We got a coffee now. All right, so look, for me, for Uber, I mean, Uber's just been going to the downside. It continues to go. I don't know really what's wrong with it. $74 all the way down to 64, basically in a straight line. Right back into this level. I remember when we were down here before, I was like, oh man, maybe the robo-taxi stuff is overblown. Let me know in the chat. I'll just ask ChatGPT what the heck's wrong with Uber. But at the same time, like down here into 63, or you guys let me know, because I'm definitely missing a story here. When they report, UBER, they didn't already, did they? No, pre-August 6th. So still got next week. So, all right, so we wait for Uber to come through. But this name does not look good, man. It looks pretty broken to me. Under the 50 pretty easily. Under the 200 now. No resistance at all here. Came back up, tried to break 68 again. Came right back down. I'm shorting Uber. It is pretty much, I mean, it's on here. That's the wrong sticky note. It's on here for 64.50s. So let's wait to see if that can come through now. I mean, it's easy to get to there because it's just a bump. So if we can get somewhere into 64.50, kind of where we closed into yesterday, that would be a good level for me. So this is something that I'm looking at, 64.50 short on Uber. That's probably going to be a top idea for me today. Let's let the market open up though. But I like Uber to the short side here as we sort of struggle to find some ideas.
All right, one more to consider here. We were just noting Procter & Gamble with earnings this morning. The earnings call is on right now. I haven't seen comments that are overly negative, but this made a huge move downside here in a bit of a hurry during the call. So just be aware if you're watching. P&G earnings call right now.
Yeah, here it is, Brendo. So I did get a chance to look at the actual earnings report. So they beat on the bottom line, but barely. I'm talking about EPS. They were able to print 140. That's about a 3-cent beat versus what the street was expecting. The company's revenue also didn't meet expectations, about $20.5 billion in revenue, and net income declined, net income decreased compared to the previous year. So it looks as if costs increasing and net revenue not increasing as well.
Yeah, I mean, the comments, though, are still relatively positive here, but not a lot of volume behind this move. But big move down there for Procter & Gamble this morning, guys.
It's just a hair shy of double the expected move. So, you know, it gets like 5.5% for Procter is a pretty sizable and hefty move in here. And if it doesn't regain the support, the last line, we'll call it today, of 160.
Ouch.
If it doesn't if it doesn't gain or hold 160, you've got some serious downside on them. So this actually looks like this is, we would almost, I don't think I've ever traded Procter & Gamble. We look at it during earnings season, we talk about blah, 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 you know, rotation and the consumer and bellwether, and those are usually the things we say, and then you kind of just move on from Procter. But when I sat down, it was down like 3 points. I'm like, okay, that was kind of what was expected, not a big deal. And now for it to be down 5%, this is pretty heavy on Procter. So I don't know if like 160 is a break. It feels like punching in short. That kind of a low doesn't make a lot of sense. But you've got these prior, like the most recent prior bottom sits about 162. Yeah, this does look like a decent enough fade opportunity. Like if this comes back in, like maybe the pop and fade, VWAP's at 163. I know it's the kind of name where you're going to have usually investors want to buy some dips, but I would imagine some people are caught off guard. Like there's got to be, like traders there's got to be people offside with this one, and especially if it loses 160. So I do like CrowdStrike a little bit better because I feel like CrowdStrike's been in a defined trend that if you just take shots at that trend, you think you're going to be okay. But at the same time, Procter, this is the first time I've looked at this stock and said, wow, this feels like it could really move today. So yeah, shorting pops into here, maybe VWAP or 162, but this looks pretty darn nasty on Procter & Gamble. And it doesn't matter what the report is. Sucker's down twice what it's expected. That's all that matters to me at this point.
Yeah, I feel like I'm saved a little bit here. I just looked in my account here. I was like thinking to myself, okay, like where am I going to average in? And I don't even own any Procter & Gamble, so that was a good one. All right, so I might buy some. I thought I did own some. I must have sold it, whatever I did. But It's J&J is more the name that I have rather than Procter. But Procter was doing really well. I mean, it was at its highs. This is news to me, man. I didn't even remember that they reported. But so it's a nice downside move there into 160. I'm going to just put on my trading hat here and do the whole Michael Noss thing. I don't really care what the report is. We're just going to look at what's going on with the stock. I mean, a fallback rate in here to 156, that looks very, very possible. I'm not buying a stock that is looking like this, that just has this huge candle all the way down to there to the downside. So again, report be darned. It's not a great stock. I was looking at it to see what my position was. Thankfully, we're not in this, but it's been really good. I mean, I don't want to say, like, all you've done is pull back to April. I mean, it does suck to give up the last 2-3 months there, but, you know, it's a report. There's been a sector rotation a little. We talked about the breadth of the market, but again, looks like Procter does not deliver here. If you're going to go into some sort of a consumer company, I think Coke is maybe a little bit better than Pepsi at this point, but you can have a quick look at all of these charts to figure that out. I mean, look what Coke is doing, ripping to the high side here. And let me just see what Pepsi was up to. They just had their reports, I believe, or something coming through with them there as well. And it's been nice upside moves for Coke, rather muted here for Pepsi. So I would switch with the winner. I'd go right back into KO instead of Pepsi and out of Procter & Gamble. I just, you know, the charts don't lie. So, yeah, Procter bad, Coke good.
You know, I was reading something after the close yesterday. Apparently, Dr. Pepper has taken over #2 in the U.S.
What?
In cola specifically. It's now Coke, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi.
I always thought it would be like Sprite or 7-Up or something.
No, just cola. Just cola.
Okay.
So now it's like
Sorry
Coke,
for me.
Dr. Pepper. I was surprised. Anyways, let's have a look at the market here.
All right, guys, 55.03 is exactly where we closed off yesterday on the ES September contract. So we defended that 5,500, but I got to tell you, we only closed out at 54.98 the day prior, so only 5 points higher than the Friday close. But look at this, 55.25 definitely acting as that level of resistance. We have a higher low. Let's see if we can defend 5,500. If we can, let's look at 55.25 as resistance.
All right, super easy. If you want an absolutely free resource, go down to the description in this video right now. There's a link there. Click on the link, enter your email address, and then you get the watch list for free. That was weird. You get the watch list for free every single day from us in the pre-market. Let's go to PayPal here. I mean, there's a few that are looking really good this morning, coming off earnings, better than expected report here for PYPL.
Yeah, this really surprised me, Brendo. So increased profitability. They were able to actually increase their operating margin from 15.5 to 16.8, revenue growth as well. They were able to increase that by about almost $500 million, up to 7.89 billion in revenue. Their outlook looks good as well. They raised the EPS for the full year and for the quarter, and their active account growth, 429 million active accounts, Brendo. That's got to be worth something in and of itself.
I'll be that guy. That's a weekly chart.
I know, it's ugly.
Yeah, but like, you know how many charts you can pull up that look like that? I mean, let's be real. No, like, obviously it hasn't been good for them. Square's chart's not going to look all that spectacular. I'm not going to pull up a firm's chart. Actually, I am, because apparently we're talking about a firm last. So look, you can pull up a firm's chart. It's going to look it's going to look worse than that.
SOFI's not even on there. That's the best.
SoFi's chart's going to look bad too. No, but
PayPal
PayPal
it's not even on the rundown. So
no, I mean, it's not moving. Well, that's like this is an interesting day. SoFi usually double digits. Procter & Gamble usually nothing. And Procter looks like it actually might be a trade today. So I'm kind of excited for that opportunity. I do own some Procter. I haven't bought it in a while, but I'm actually starting to think, give it a couple of days, and maybe I do want to dip by. But I do prefer ASML where it sits. PayPal previous high 62. I think because it didn't really break past that 64.5, so we got to the expectations and did not break it out for the move into 68. If it had done that and we're holding like 64.5, 65, I think the extension into 68 would make sense. Instead, pull right back into the 62 level, prior resistance, looking for some support there. There is this trend line that is trying to break, like a very steep one since the last report high to the lower high kind of intersects today with like that 62.40 area. So I think, yeah, making a lot of sense to pull right back into the 62s, and that's where I will look for the dip buy. So try to keep it relatively simple here with PayPal. It's doing good volume, so you know it's going to move today. Obviously, it's up currently, but I'm going to have to be patient. Like if I like it down around here, 62, and that trend line was 62.40, it's chilling out at 63.5, which is not a trade for me.
All right. Brendan, check the work chat there, Brendo. Okay. Or Sharif, or Ramin, or Fabian. Okay, thank you. All right. So just quickly here on PayPal. Yeah, up 8%. Look, good quarter. I like the stock. Obviously, it's breaking through. This is on our sticky note here today. So if we want to look at this real quick, you're going to be able to see this. I like the stock here. We'll see if it can continue to go higher. So here's PayPal, 62 long. I feel like great break on upbeat, pullbacks to VWAP. So I want to play this very, very simple. The same way we do all of this stuff, right? It's here's the earnings report. Here's the move to the upside. There we go. Exclamation mark.
Up.
All right, so PayPal, good move. I think back to VWAP, which is $62. There's the break rate here on PayPal on the daily. That's $62. So this is what I'm looking at. You know, we called that play yesterday on Tesla that I didn't think was going to come in. That was more of an upside break. I don't think today we get to 68, but when and if we do, like if we come in tomorrow and you're banging near the 68, then I think that's a huge long. So let's wait to see if that comes in. But for now, I think we just hit PayPal. If you're long it, I think you take some off for sure. It's a nice move back up, but it's not like we haven't been here before. It's still down from where it was last month. I mean, last month we were at the 68 mark. So you still got another 5% to go until you get to that level. So yeah, it's great and everything, but this number needs to say 15% to really get excited about it. So PayPal again, if you're going to look, and like I said, I don't want to start off being such a, you know, they say Debbie Downer here, but I mean, Procter & Gamble was expected 2.8, it actually got 5.3, right? Where's PayPal? Here's PayPal, expected 8, we got 8. So it's just what it is today, right? I mean, these numbers are coming out as expected. And PayPal even under, so now PayPal's even less volatile than was expected. So I don't know, man. I like the name. We'll see if it's there right now, but not super gassed up about it either.
We were just watching SOUN, nice pop here, up to $5 for SoundHound AI. Launching Chat AI with integrated ChatGPT and Alfa Romeo and Citroën across Europe. So that's a step forward, I think. You were just, touching on the fact that Siri's useless in that case.
Absolutely. I mean, like I'm asking Siri a question, I'm asking it, tell me what the answer is, and it just refuses to because it wants to show it to me on the screen. Yeah. And you just easily read the answer. I'd love this though, having that kind of data access in the car. Yeah.
I mean, with Android even, I think like you can open an app, you can say, hey G, open maps, but you can't actually, say, how do I get home or something like that. Right. It stops at that. So anyways, SoundHound, moving around. NVIDIA, let's touch on some of these semiconductors this morning. Back downside again this morning. There's really no significant news. AMD coming up after the close tonight, but green here for NVIDIA today.
Should we talk about Tesla super quick? Just the recalls. Guys, 1.8 million vehicles recalled. I guess I had a recall on my phone this morning because it was a software update. Yes, 2021 to 2024 Model 3, Model S, and Model X are going to be updated. The 2020 to 2024 Model Ys are going to be updated. The issue here, Brendo, is it could cause your hood to fully open while driving. Nobody wants that.
What about Tesla?
That's not a big deal.
Yeah, so look, Tesla, there's not a huge catalyst on Tesla. I'm not going to pretend like who cares about the recall. Let's be real for a second. It's about the move yesterday is the reason why you want to look at it today. So if we get continuation on the daily, you have 220. I like 226 is this level here. I think if you dip anywhere into that, like you've gone down a lot to even get there. So previous close is going to be 232, and then the afternoon lower high is going to be 230. So for a continuation play, I think I would like those two areas to look for just a little bit better than all the way back at 226. I think you get down there, you cross that bridge, and the likelihood that's the first thing that happens after the open is slim. It could happen. You never really know. But if it fills in the entire gap, I'm going to suspect that you're going to be really, really patient. Underneath 230, patience for any dip buys in Tesla. Again, don't really care too much about when they do these. Like I can't remember the last time it was a huge deal when they do their software, quote unquote, recall. I mean, the story was the rally yesterday.
Yeah. This is exactly what I said 40 minutes ago. I said this is a nothing day. We're talking about something that's not even really moving. Tesla 0.64 here. I have it written down as 232. Let's see if we can get higher from here. Yesterday, we were really excited about that. I mean, look what happened yesterday, right? As opposed to what's happening right now. This could get going again here, right? But yesterday, we really loved this pre-market break, then the 228 break that was going back a couple weeks or a couple days. So there it is, comes back in, dips into that level. It gives you an opportunity to buy it. So right now, I mean, I still think it's exciting. I don't mind the stock, but it's need to have drop in a little bit more. It needs to come into 232 a little bit. That's what I'm looking for. Yesterday's sort of closing prices for the long. That's what I wrote down. Let's see if that's true or not. We wrote that down when we were up here at 234, 235. Now it's already come in. So maybe we might even have to be looking lower around 230. So for right now, it's like hands off. I'm almost thinking that 230 is a much better buy now than 232 because we're so close. But we'll see if it can bounce around that level. Tesla, it's on my mind, but again, not super amped up about this trade, and it's trade idea number one. So I'm actually flipping over to Uber, I think, for a better trade idea right now than Tesla. So we'll talk about that as we go. Let's go decide about what's going on with NVIDIA.
Bounce here right now back to, you made it. You made it. He's back. This was really the only note that I saw this morning in the pre-market that was kind of interesting. Apple training their AI, Apple Intelligence, that we learned yesterday is going to be delayed on rollout. The initial model I saw, though, was rolled out in the latest update. Apple's AI trained on Google's custom chips, not NVIDIA's?
Yeah, these TPUs, we know about these from a while, these tensor processing units. What I didn't know was Apple was buying them. And I was asking you, I was asking Sean, where is Apple buying their GPUs for their AI, for their Apple Intelligence? And finally, we got the answer here. My question is, do more people do this? Because the demand for NVIDIA's chips is just so high and they're so expensive.
And nobody can get their hands on them. No. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's such an unknown at this point, but I'm trying to take out session highs here.
I'm not 100% sure. It says, from our notes, it says an Apple research paper claimed. So I don't know if it's 100% that is it is? Confirmed. Okay, so claimed and confirmed right there about NVIDIA. So look, I mean, they're still in a huge drawdown, NVIDIA right now. It's still this way, right? I still think it goes a little bit lower. Yesterday, we wrote down 111 as the long. I mean, come on. I mean, yesterday's long was 111.50. So if we can come into that again, I think there could be something there, and we're right there right now. So I don't know. I mean, yesterday, like I said, I like the dip buy opportunity into 111. There was the low, 111.50. It also made it there. There's yesterday, and now we made it again for into today. So let's see if it wants to hold this 111.50 area. I mean, I like the stock down here, but again, I recently bought a little bit more of this at 113, 114. I think it's a good hold for the long term. But right now, it's not performing that well. I don't really see any breakout levels to the upside here. And this is just on a 1-minute chart. So if there's nothing exciting there, let's go over to a 20-minute chart on NVIDIA. And again, if we can get above this 116 area, I think then we're pumping. Maybe 117 where this 200 period lies. I mean, it's obviously been following this all the way down. We did try to break through here at 123, 124. But for me, it'd have to be this 117, 116 area. And this is what I mean. If NVIDIA was up here at 115 right now, then this would be my trade of the day. This break long, you know, or the short, depending on how the market would work. So I don't see any key levels here other than down. So I feel like you got to watch out for this 111 break lower at this point. But the market's not screaming one direction or the other to me right now. So yeah, I think this is a sit on your hands and wait to see. I don't even have basically any big tech names. Like I have Tesla on here. We've talked about that. That's like people are kicking that out of the Mag 7. And then we just have the TQs. So I think a better trade for me would be going long on the futures. We already talked about this. This is the #1 P&L name for the show this month across all traders. And I just think that if you're going to look at TQs, you could get a break on that. I know Sharif's been looking at this recently as well, so that's awesome. And I know at Dara trades IWM and some of these futures-related products. I'm looking at SOXLs, SPY, SOXL, SPXL, all of these names, and I'm looking at a break right here. This is 67.50 on the TQQ. So this is a name, if you're looking for a sticky note and you're looking for trade ideas that will be taken, it's right here, man. These are levels that I put money into, and we try to go. So 67.50 right there. If you're rocking with me, you're rocking with the TQQs.
Like NVIDIA has been a fade off the open at like 3 days in a row off the same level. So if we get to that level, I mean, it's a short up there for me. The chances that you get there, we were so much closer. Like every other day, we were right there, right at 114, 115. So the idea that you're going to get there is pretty slim right away. It had a lower high at 113.5. So if it pops up into this range, about 114, and starts to show weakness, then that's where I'm going to go. For NVIDIA. It's been a downward slope. I understand it's held on after that big reversal day on last week Thursday, but until proven otherwise, this is one that's been a bit in the penalty box recently. So if it pops in, first resistance is kind of where this turned at midday, right around that 114, just shy of the 114 area. And if it breaks that, you just wait around for it to trade at the key level at that 117. Everyone was waiting for AMD tonight. AMD is the definition as well of kind of like diddling in the middle. If there's a really strong press in AMD, suffice to say, 145 is a pretty good resistance level for advanced micro devices. And if by some chance we see ARM at 150 again, I don't think we're going to, but with all the chips, I think I'm just really going to be patient. If they pop, I'm looking for a curl. It would be that simple. ARM is by far the farthest away from the big resistance. I think NVIDIA's got a chance that you could pop enough into that 14 or into that 17 for a turnaround trade. I'm not really looking to catch the bid. It'll have to prove to me, if you're trending up and bouncing off VWAP and all that kind of normal stuff for a trend up day, I have no issues with that. But until these chips do that once, we just haven't seen that out of it off of those levels. It's generally been pop, hit a high, and then kind of pull back in. It just hasn't been doing anything other than that. Like we get to the top around lunchtime or right at the open, and then you start trending down. So until that stops happening, same plan as usual for the chips leading with NVIDIA.
CrowdStrike got rejected pretty hard there at 250. Once again, we traded above it briefly, but right back down. If you missed it, we were discussing a little bit early on this morning between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Delta, the first to come out. I mean, as Sean mentioned, there's a long line of companies that were affected by this outage, but Delta, the first to come out saying, or reports suggesting at least, that they could seek some compensation. Up to 6,000 flights affected since that day, July 19th through to today.
Yeah, it's a costly blunder here. Not really much of their fault. They're estimating the damage to be about $350 to $500 million. About 176,000 different refunds have been received by Delta. They've hired a lawyer named David Boyes. This person was representing the U.S. government against Microsoft in their antitrust lawsuit in the 90s. Just to give you a different data point to give you the full scope of the CrowdStrike outage, $5.5 billion is set to be the effect on the Fortune 500 companies, excluding Microsoft.
Yeah, market back to highs here, but definitely not the case for CrowdStrike, guys, pushing 4% still.
No, and like we said, looking weak. Can't seem to find a bottom for more than a couple of days before breaking down again, and this catalyst is gonna cause it today. So, the first time it bounced after the bad news and after the outage, got to 75, broke down again, then 65 has been the top, and now it's breaking down again. So somewhere in the mid, I wrote down 252, which is kind of a, you're right between 250 and 255. I don't know that that's exactly where it's going to go. Today is where you establish the top. I just want to be looking pop and fade on CrowdStrike when the daily chart continues to look like this. It's just a stair step to the downside, lower highs, lower lows. If that's what you're getting, what would you do if a stock was trending up? You'd be buying every single dip that you could, right? And so when a stock is trending to the downside, you short the pops. I'll never forget, the first time I was in a big time bear day as a trainee trader, there was a guy sitting in front of me, he'd been full time for a couple of years, and he just kept saying to himself, short the pops, short the pops. And it was just a mantra that if a stock is trending, you should be looking to follow the trend until that trend stops. So I'm looking at maybe 250 breaking here and grab something in the mid 50s. Start looking around that 52 previous support level as well. Yeah, I'm just looking to pop and fade here on CrowdStrike. And if it breaks out through 55, then I leave it alone. Wait for 65 even.
I was just noting Berkshire was selling a whole bunch of BAC again, but this has nothing to do with BAC other than that they were upgrading a firm. But yeah, a ton. Berkshire offloading a ton of their BAC position once again. So it's not really moving though this morning. But here's a firm going to buy, $36 price target. Nice look here, up 5%.
Yeah, here's the rationale. Profitability outlook. The analyst there, Jason Cuthberg, believes a firm is closer to GAAP profitability, generally accepted accounting principles. Positive catalyst also coming up in 2025, they say. Favorable interest rate environment. Lower interest rates really help with demand for some of the products that have to be financed. And the strategic partnerships, Brenda. We heard about their deal with Apple earlier in the year. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little light on volume here this morning, so we'll see if we get some follow through. But if you go to the daily chart, this is just real quick, Bank of America. Yeah, so it's been $3 billion total that Berkshire has sold in the month of July to date on BAC.
Before we get to a firm, I just want to maybe address a question from the chat here from Adrian. So appreciate the question here, Adrian. When do you see a reversal? And you're talking about CrowdStrike. So I'm going to maybe mention that. And look, if you have questions for us and you want to be involved in the chat and sort of interact, asking about an individual stock, you have to be a subscriber to be in the chat. It's a subs-only chat. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. Jump in, ask questions. It's a great community. We have a lot of knowledgeable traders in here. We have some that talk about options as well. I see Ponzi in there. Shout out to you, Ponzi Fonzie. But Adrian, I'm not looking to guess when crowd's going to bounce. You know, with stock that's trending like this, I think until it does something to break trend, like a rounded bottom, stops making lower lows, defined bottom, and starts making a few lower highs, breaks out a top or two, then I think I'll be convinced. I'd rather get a curl than just sit there guessing at it. There is potential support here in the low 240s. That's just based on what the chart looks like. But until it breaks that trend, I think you got to look for the other direction just to continue. And you can make the same case about a firm. A firm might be an upgrade today, but I'm not going to zoom it out any further. We can all do that. We talked about this already with PayPal and Square and some of the other ones. But a firm has been in a pretty decent downward trend. It has yet to break this trend. It's still going downside. But each time it's got these little consolidations off the bottom, there have been pretty decent rallies on it. It has a decent short float, so it's got a consolidation that's breaking out today. And it's not a lot, but there's not an overwhelming number of things that are doing good volume. I think CrowdStrike's doing good volume. PayPal is doing good volume pre-market. Affirms is okay, but you have this $27.50 in here, previous resistance. I think as long as it hangs on to that, this has a chance to get back into the upside. It's not going to be, the names I have, PayPal, CrowdStrike, NVIDIA, Tesla are going to be higher on the list, but a firm and its 10% short float, if it decides it wants to dip and hold 27.60, I think that can be appealing. The trend is your friend, but this also has a pattern of when it bases out for a couple of days and starts going, it'll give you a few days worth of a rally before the inevitable fade, which tends to happen a week later. That's what the daily chart's been telling us. So you kind of stick to what the past is telling you until it does something new.
Let's look to see. I was just looking. It is. I just want to see if there's anything happening because July. I mean, around this month, I guess I'm having a decent. I mean, one of my best months, but this month can't end quick enough. It seems like when you're looking. These are yesterday's top traders. So we'll hear this. Not huge numbers, but yesterday in Canada, we had the top two traders, and we don't even trade Canada here. The top two traders yesterday were on the Canadian market. So there it is. Shout out to Real Trading today, our number one, I don't know why that froze up there. Our number one sponsor, TSX yesterday, 6,400 in the NASDAQ. There's another 6,000 in Canada as well as it continues to go down. There's another Canadian. So I feel like we might have to look at some more Canadian stocks here as they are really, really starting to make some moves there. And again, a lot of times it's not about the moves. It's about, the way the market is designed and if you're able to figure out advantages that you can take in these markets. But definitely go ahead and sign up for Real Trading immediately. This is the company here, realtrading.com. Even if you are in the U.S., go here, hit join, hit that you'd like to do it, put in some of those things there. We'll figure out if and when we, more news to come on all of this stuff. So keep it on your radar. Real Trading right now, that's where we trade with. You can trade, over 50 plus markets. There's over 3,000 traders, and you join our team and use the same platform as Neil and I. And I'm just trying to find out what kind of a month it's been. But like I said, sometimes during the summertime, and I hate using it as excuses because, again, it doesn't matter. It's all about how you trade. It's not anything other than that, right? So it's like I don't want to have mental blocks. I talked about this with Adara yesterday, even on the market recap show. No matter what the market is, right, you're going to have to try to find opportunities. We are traders, and if there's no opportunity there, then you don't take it. So, yeah, I feel like if there is something available to you today, make sure that you're looking at all possible markets, and that's why we bring that up there to show you that there's more, more opportunities than obviously what we're showing you here now today. And it looks like, a lot of markets moving around other than the U.S. markets. It's 925 right now. The imbalances are now out. So again, like I just get more and more confidence every day here, to be honest with you, because I started the show saying this was going to be a little bit of a snoozy day. We don't even know, like, sure, there's Broadcom 200. It's nice to see Apple at least is on here with 200,000. But normally we're talking about something at least near 1 million, at least 500,000. There's nothing on here again. Like NVIDIA already done for 3 million shares, has 182 and barely moving on that. Apple, the same thing. Like, I don't know. This is a nice move back into 219. It's just going to get it back. That's just the spread. So, like, I don't know. Not super excited to start the day. We will have to look at some Tesla. And we got some lemon tea here with a little bit of honey. So we're ready to go. Hands off for me for a couple minutes.
Yeah, like there's nothing stands out in the imbalances. Usually there'll be like a small cap or two, but it doesn't really necessarily matter. Like you got to look to where there actually is volume. That's the only reason PG was a late addition for a stock to trade. It's down 5% is a lot for this thing. Just to go back over, because this was a late ad, it's not on my morning note. But if it gets back into like 162, that's the price there. 162, 162 half on the daily is a level for me on Procter. Previous support, down 5.5% when the market was expecting, options were pricing 2.5% to 3% anticipated move. And it's a clean downward trend. So pop and fade is going to be the play for me on that one. I know that serve is starting to pick up again, and this has been a wild one. Just be careful with serve. It hasn't been a halt fest on this stock, I feel like yet, but every day that this climbs higher and higher and higher, I think there's going to be one of those like crazy halts up or down off of the open, and it just continues to run. So up another 12%, but it's been trending down since the open. 20 is going to be the big level. You just saw it bounce off of the close high, like the 4 o'clock high was right at the $20 level for SERV, which I know a lot of people have been on the last couple of days. I just want to make sure you see in perspective what serve has done. And if it is a dip day, I haven't paid for locates on this. I did short it once for a win yesterday, but I'm probably going to pay for some locates just to have it available, assuming they're not a ridiculous price, which at real trading, I think it was 1/4 cent per share yesterday, probably somewhere around that to be able to get these locates on serve. What is that? You hear that?
I sure do. I just got it. So I just got into Tesla right here. I was bidding 232 on Tesla. Tesla just fell in like real good. So I don't know what's going on here with Tesla. I'll probably just punch out some of this right now, get a little bit out as we break through 232. It was just at 234. And then it just dropped in there pretty aggressively as we try to get back up to the upside right there. So Tesla just trying to figure itself out. Let's go find out what Sharif's talking about.
We're talking about continuation gaps today, Sean. Another name for them is runaway gaps. Make sure to check that out with Adair and I on How to Trade at 11.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much there, Sharif. So we got 1 minute to go till the open. I double checked to see if at like 9:28, maybe like a NASDAQ imbalance came out on Tesla. I don't see it. So if it was there, it's already paired off. It's entirely possible there was a very quick imbalance on Tesla that just paired off for the open, but nothing there. It's still just a bunch of names under 100,000. So Tesla on watch. I mean, the 230 level, the afternoon bottom is kind of where I'm looking at it. I feel like we're going to get a chance at this one here. So PayPal at 62.80. We're waiting for 62. CrowdStrike is down at 48. CrowdStrike So the chances of getting it above 50, it can happen. CrowdStrike will move $1 or $2 sometimes at the open. And then I want to look to short pops on NVIDIA first at 114. So I feel like we're going to have to be very patient this morning. The only thing that looks like it's trending back down into a level is going to be Tesla on that opening auction move. I mean, whether it was a sell and bounce or not, I don't actually see it, but there was that pull down about $2. Let's get the countdown on. It's Tuesday, Adara, as everyone is locked and loaded and ready to go. Ring it in 5, 4, 3, 2, and you know what to do.
All right. So we're just in Tesla. I mean, we'll wait to see what happens here. We've already gotten out of half of that trade for 40 or 35 cent hit. So we'll wait to see what happens here. A dip down into 228 or change would be something to look for. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. 229 at this point here for Tesla. We can get out of another piece. I just think this is flushing a little bit, and I don't necessarily want to like overreact to this move. And let's just put a 220. Let's put what is this? 229. Okay. Oopsies. 229.05 or so. Let's wait to see if we can get the very basement here in Tesla. And this is the problem, right? Like I've talked about this before. You sit there and you put out levels, and then this kind of stuff happens. Look at the market coming back in right now. So yeah. Sometimes, as expected here, some of this like lesser volume. We told you this was going to be a little bit of a boring day, but it's starting off with a nice move to the downside. So Tesla, we're going to have to wait for that 229 level. And then if Uber can get going as well, very, very little volume and excited me about that one. And then NVIDIA dips into 111, which is what we were going to buy, but didn't. So let's see what happens here with NVIDIA.
So Tesla bounced off 230 just now, able to get back into the 231s. That 32 could turn from support into resistance for sure. Wow, are you kidding me, CrowdStrike? Wow, CrowdStrike is absolutely dying right now. So we just got 230s back into the 232 level. I'm going to ring the register on that. We got a bounce, but Tesla, that was heavy off the open. The 230 level from afternoon yesterday does end up holding out, but CrowdStrike just absolutely flushed at the open $5. So we want to continue this one to the south side. I'm not going to chase the bottom, but I am going to try to short a pop back into VWAP on CrowdStrike. It's not SSR or anything today, so I don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. But wow, what an unbelievable move there in Crowd. Adara?
Beware here of Amazon AMZN. This letter actually was initially written here on July 25th, but it's being circulated now on news media and social media here that the FDA has issued a warning to Amazon over its distribution of unapproved chemical peel products, saying that they've violated some things here with regards to the introduction of unapproved new drugs and also citing some public health risks. That being said, AMZN just making new highs for the day, but keep an eye on AMZN with this FDA warning, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that story come in around 9:28 or 9:29 there, and I was looking at it, and I was like, not much is happening right here. So we'll wait for Amazon. Thanks for that, Adara. All right, here we go. NVIDIA, nice move up. We're just going to try to take 50 cents here on a piece, and then see if we can really have it going. NVIDIA, we wanted to buy the 111s, and we were sleeping on it, so we did not. But we'll see if it can actually go up to the upside right here, and see if we can look at that name one more time at some point here for NVIDIA. So we'll buy some more 111s. Down there. We'll get out if it breaks like this 1050 area. Those are those wick dark pools. I don't really care too much about those. The level though that I was looking at from before was 111, and then so there's those wicks down into 110 and change. So if that doesn't work, that will not work. So we'll wait for that. We are still waiting to get some Tesla down here. Hopefully that will come back into the 29 area or so. It's right there, 29.20. What was the bottom today? Actually ours doesn't even show it, but looks like it could be coming in right now off that bottom. So we'll see if there is going to be a trade there as well. I want to check back in on Uber to see if that is doing anything. Again, trying to go a little bit here. So I wrote down 64.50. So we are getting going a little bit here on Uber as we start to take out some of these highs in the market. So let's keep Uber on our radar to see if that is going to be a trade for us or not. The other one here, I said seems like a slow day. TQs and then PayPal. Yeah, let's have a quick look at PayPal. Is that dipping
64 already?
A little bit. So yeah, there's the dip right into 62 as it was written. And we don't have it. So there it goes. Dip. I mean, what did we say? It literally says it right on here. Dip into VWAP. Okay. So yeah, about that. All right. Yeah, we'll
How
just
about that?
look for some more opportunities here as NVIDIA continues to go down. So does Tesla. So we're going to be 0 for 2 and holding on to these longs. Not big positions yet, but Tesla looks like it's trying to break lower here. So we may have to exit stage left on a stock that we were pretty good to get out of early, but it looks like it does want to fade out late here as the market's still trying to figure itself out anyways.
Yeah, wow, what a spread on CrowdStrike's got a wild spread going on here. Break that 245. It just broke 245 to the downside, but there's a refresher at this level, so I'm just going to quickly trail it. If 245 comes back and holds the $0.50, I'm going to get out. It is flushing back in. I tried to, okay, so it's hard to see here. There you go. You can see this a little bit better. I got 47s. When it came up to the pre-market high here at 49s, I tried to fill the gap and get more at 48.5. I got absolutely butt-kissed. But the spread was the reason. It was like a 50, 60 cent spread. I had no chance unless you hit the bid. So CrowdStrike heading back toward that bottom, but that 45 just reestablished. So it'll be an early scalp trade for the $1.50 on Crowd and see if we can establish a better level. When it's a big wick down like that off of the open and doesn't immediately flush back to the low, I want to be a little bit cautious with Crowd, and I've never got the price that we wanted. If we're risking to 50, I think I want to have something a little tighter to 49 if it comes back in there. And then Tesla, just an update. I mean, Tesla bounced the first time off 230, was able to get 230.80, then get 231.75, and then boom, stopped out the bottom. So as far as the next low on Tesla, down here 227. So this one's absolutely flushing into the downside. Tesla looking pretty darn nasty there. NVIDIA not doing much of anything. And it didn't quite get to, I mean, if we'd gotten better than the $0.50 on PayPal, yeah, it got to 62.5. Wanted that 62 a little bit tighter. So just be patient. A couple of very quick trades there on Tesla and CrowdStrike will work out. But not a whole lot is setting up. We like the firm potentially for a dip and rip. The firm didn't dip. What are you going to do?
Okay, so again, NVIDIA, the big stock here right now, as we start to go right there. There goes NVIDIA, man. Good name here. We are in the money now, 70 cents, 80 cents. This will be P&L number one here. NVIDIA as it gets dropped down in. Tesla, wow, okay, NVIDIA, okay. Now we're starting to think about it. Nice upside move there for NVDA. Again, we talked about buying 111s. We got it, so there it is right there. When you believe, like I said, when you believe in something, you put on the shares, and there it goes. Nice move upside for NVIDIA. The problem is we also believe a little, we did believe a little bit there in Tesla. We just got a little bit of love there. We got something out at 229. Our long is 229.60s. So maybe there it is again. We'll take another piece out here at 229. We're completely in the pocket now. We are completely relaxed, but we'd like to see Tesla. Let me go one more time up here into the 80s again, if we can get another piece out, just to sort of lick some of these wounds again right here, because we still have some numbers coming out and Tesla just keeps getting faded. So we'll take another out there again at 229 and see if that goes. But the big stock of the day P&L wise here will be NVIDIA. Neil's got some good ones with CrowdStrike and something else, and Adara's over at the desk.
Keep an eye on Symbiotic here, which is trying to recover. SYM still down here about 16, almost 17%. They reported earnings yesterday, missed on GAAP EPS, but they did beat on sales. The biggest issue here, though, was their guidance. Coming in here for Q4 revenue guidance, $455 million to $475 million versus estimates of $516. So SYM trying to make a bit of a recovery. Keep an eye on this one as an earnings name, guys.
Yeah, and look, I'm just telling myself, don't chase PayPal. Wait for it, because it's absolutely gone at this point. Procter & Gamble went right up. Right when we're getting CrowdStrike short, where did Procter go to? Right to $162 and faded. So that was a level we liked, but we traded Tesla and Crowd to be happy with them. But obviously, you can't always get the 930 trade on everything, because that's a very quick spike on Procter into 162. If we get a chance to pop into VWAP and get a fade trade on this, we don't trade this as a day trade. But Procter down 6% ain't good. Got to look for the sell action here. Just continue the trend as long as it wants to go down. Tesla's still holding down around like 228. Still think I like 27s here, but we're getting pretty darn close to need to pull the trigger. First it was the 30. Now you have the bottom from the afternoon and that early morning dip here on Tesla as it's continuing to tank into the downside. PayPal's at 65.
Yeah.
So like I'm just telling myself, don't chase it. Don't chase it. You know, if it's going to trend all day, wait for the dip buy. it's blowing through the highs right now.
Yeah, we already nailed PayPal. If you guys are sticky no nation, then you know what's good right there as a VWAP. But instead, we wind up chasing it, and we're pretty happy with our NVIDIA takes. But the market's coming back in, so we're going to get ready to get punched out probably of Tesla. But let's just wait. I mean, this is why you take stocks out, obviously, as they start to go to the upside, and you can sort of get out of some of those trades that you had made and that were not overly successful. So this NVIDIA trade was, and so it's going to see if it can get back up to the upside. Come on, Tesla. I'm losing a little bit of patience. I keep getting some out here at 229. Like it's in the money again, but I mean, need this to go, right? I mean, 229.50 would be a nice pick. That's where we're at right now to see if it can go. It keeps getting faded though, man. Like every single move up tries to go and then stop. See, like 229, we just got to 229.20, then just went down 50 cents after that. So I just feel like the pressure on the downside is just so huge right now on Tesla. But here we go. Now we're starting to give it up a little bit. We're still at 50s. Need to get that pull. Oh man, if I missed that by 10 cents, that would suck. But here we go. Maybe we get a little move. Now I'm starting to get a little bit anxious because we may miss it. Let's get some 25s out there and then let's go into the 50s. There it goes right now. Let's go for Tesla. Finally starting to go. As I said, you believe in something, you put it on. So there it goes. Let's see if Tesla can get going right now. P&L number one will be NVIDIA. Let's see if Tesla can get up to the upside as well and break through that 230 area right now for Tesla. So not too bad. We're going to figure out what's going on with that one. And then other than that, we looked at Uber short. Let me see where that one is right now. So again, not much volume. I still like the short. We'll see if that comes in. I mean, maybe now looking for 64. Well, I mean, there's 64.50, but 65 now and change. Let's let Uber settle down. Hey, we could be wrong on that. We're not in it, so we're not wrong yet. But Tesla, nice move back into that level. Let's see if there's anything else flying. Yeah, that's the thing about
PayPal's starting to come in a little
Okay,
bit.
good. So let me see what PayPal's trade is here because we like it back to VWAP. So that would be 63.50.
Yeah, it's trying to pull right back in now. So it failed 65 it broke 65 by 5 cents. Now it's pulling back in. Just look to see if it get into VWAP here. I got my eyes on Procter, Procter just took out the low again. P&G is getting dumped. There's going to be some buyers on that thing. If Procter & Gamble goes 10% down, that is an SSR bounce for sure. Almost no questions asked on Procter, but it has to go 10%. So here comes PayPal. Doesn't quite get to 63.5. Want to see it level off a little bit. I'm just going to slide back over for a quick second well, you already talked about Tesla, but Tesla didn't get down to that 227 level. I'm not thinking fade on it, but if it does fail 230, I like 230 for support. If it fails that level, that would usually be a scalp trade, and it's going to be VWAP as well. So we're going to be waiting for PayPal. Just be patient. Now it's starting to get off VWAP here.
That's what we're talking about, man. It's not a fruit salad kind of trade. It's a dollar trade. So let's go, man. Let's go with PayPal and with Tesla and with NVIDIA. We'll wait to see if we can get some PayPal on a nice little dip buy opportunity there. I'm going to put an offer up at 230 in case it does try to get the back there. It was just there and then faded out a little bit. So now we're at 229. And here we go. Nice little move to the upside right here for Tesla. And there it goes right there. That's officially your dollar winner. I think you might have had one there on CrowdStrike, maybe a little bit more. But here we go now, back up to the upside. And again, you know, sometimes you got to be patient, right? And you know, we don't display our P&Ls, but as NVIDIA goes down, P&L getting a little worse. So there it goes. We just got flushed out of NVIDIA. Man, these chip names are not working right there today. So there goes NVIDIA on that one. We'll be flat on that. Today it sucks because we just got that reload and then it just faded out. So should have gone short there on that 111 break when it was looking sketchy. But there it goes, downside, more downside action for the chip names. We're going to have to look at that. So right there, we'll be flat on NVIDIA and it looks like we'll try, I mean, we'll be down on Tesla, but we did real good to build that back. So we'll see if that can come into 228 again, 227 maybe on that name. Yeah, Uber continues to go a little bit higher here. I think I'm going to try to fade that at some point.
Yeah, Uber is an interesting one because it looks so bad on the chart. It's a nasty, nasty looking chart. So PayPal's attempting to bounce off of VWAP. Good thing we didn't chase that because if you took the top break, you got hosed if you took that top break. So there's a chance that it's maybe trapped some people up there. If we get back into that pre-market high, which is the $0.50, want to be scalping some out into it. So on this bounce, I got 64 even as an entry. I want to get 20s. I want to get something out in front of the 50s. Procter, I just keep on adjusting. I don't want to chase this to the downside. It's not bouncing anywhere to be able to get some kind of a fade trade on Procter, and Crowd is even worse than anticipated. It just came back into VWAP and then wicked it at 245. So missed maybe a chance to get back into this one at the 245 level. For myself, it's still looking at the same thing. Procter, CrowdStrike, Tesla, which has yet to maybe get to that 227. So what we're in right now is PayPal. You had to be very patient with it. Now you're getting VWAP. If we just trend all day on PayPal, you could do worse than looking for some VWAP dip buys.
All right. All right. Yeah. I mean, we knew about
The market's
I can't believe I wasn't on that for PayPal at that rate to 63.70. That was a perfect opportunity to buy that name. All right, here we go. Uber starting to fade a little bit. We're short here at 40s. We wanted the 64.50 level. We let it go all the way up, and then we now fade it as it comes back into the downside. One more time right here. Hopefully we can get something going. We'll see what happens, though, here today. So far, relatively muted. We'll see what happens with Palantir. AMD trying to go up. Let's have a quick look at PLTR right now. Yeah, nice upside move for Palantir today. Let's go charts. Up 1%, or was up 1%, now only up 0.6. That fade is happening as well, but I want to go, the
market's tanking.
I want to go short on something, so the market is definitely coming back in just a little bit right now, and you know, still up on the day, not much to worry about yet. But
NVIDIA is just...
Yeah, NVIDIA is the problem. That's down here. I mean, it's a good thing, like, we're flat on NVIDIA, and we like...
You should see ARM.
So that is the, ARM yesterday at 150 was a genius.
ARM is breaking yesterday's low right now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
130, yeah, it's...
Based on what this market is doing.
Look, ARM reports at the end of this week. Sorry, check that. ARM reports on Thursday. I'm expecting the 200 period moving average is going to be in play for ARM. You have to zoom out. It's like at 105 or something like that, the way this is selling off here today. It's not the biggest float, and that's why it moves so much. So PayPal off of VWAP, it just tagged the quarters. It tagged the 50s. It's in threat of putting in a lower high. So that was the fear. If you don't break back out the pre-market top there at 64.5, then you're just right back into support. If you lose this, we got to wait for the 62. So VWAP's good as long as it holds. So we scalped that. The third trade we take for now good, but this market is pretty weak. And if it drags PayPal with it, I don't want this losing VWAP, and I'm just holding on for dear life. We want to be able to get out, look for the next opportunity over there in PayPal. Tesla just wicked the bottom and didn't get to 27. So what I mean by that is it broke 228, didn't get to the 227 even, and now it has a chance to hold a higher low. We like that support from yesterday. This could be that test. The market's also making an attempt at a bounce here. See if I can get some 228s there on test. We had it at 30. It definitely was working and then flushed back in. Now all of a sudden trying to hold on to afternoon, maybe late morning support here on Tesla at that 228 even level.
Yeah, I flipped Tesla over into a short, so let's just see. I mean, it could go the other way. We got stopped out on the short, and we want to try just a little bit of a reversal here in case this market wants to continue its downside push. I mean, I don't know. We do have the stop order to get out here if we break too much higher than 229.50, sort of where we've just been shorting right now. So we'll see if that can come back into play now. Tesla, a little sick, right? I mean, down 1.5%, much more than the market. But this market is still pretty... I mean, we only opened up right here. You know, you're starting to go down now, but the flush really hasn't been too present, right? So let's just wait to see what happens here for Tesla. So right now we're short at 228.50. We are short Uber now as well. NVIDIA's really coming in, so I'm going to cancel all my PayPal trades actually right now and wait for that one to maybe come in again to the downside. Let's just wait if that happens. But right now we're short Uber, and that's why I sort of want to look at what we're short right now and not really focus on too many longs. But the market is trying to go a little southbound, but not really. Still kind of hovering around. If you want to look at a little bit of a larger time frame here on a 30-minute chart, all my stops are in. If they trigger, they trigger. I mean, Tesla's up to 229.50. If that goes out, then that goes out. But here's the market. I really want to worry about a long. We talked about this yesterday, 19,400 right there. And then to the downside, 19.2 break and maybe lower than that. So let's wait to see if we can break 19.2, which would be right into here from yesterday. See if we can push a little bit lower into that. Uber's just kind of hanging out right now. So not really trading, I guess, the right names here. I mean, Uber's kind of been flat. It's NVIDIA where, I mean, the reversal on Tesla is flat. It's not doing anything. It's this reversal here on that 111 give up all the way down to 109 and getting nasty and lower. And there it goes, man. We'll props it up at least a little bit for Uber as that's now trying to get 20 cents in the money. But realistically, man, I mean, it'll be my whole net will be Tesla. We were wrong on the long, and now it looks like we might be wrong on the short as well, as that's trying to go. So yeah, we'll just we'll put some more bids on Uber, see if that can get a little bit lower into the low 30s and then back into the 50 period, which is 20s. So let me put a bid down there at 20.
Yeah, and I'm into Procter for the first time. Actually, I think this is the first time I've ever traded this stock. Outside, I think maybe at the close one time. But Procter down 6% now. Procter & Gamble, there's a host of names we could talk about. So it goes right into the pre-market low on a bounce, doesn't get to VWAP, and starts curling right at the 159.5. But got on the way back in here at teens, effectively evens, 159 even to the half. If it breaks that, I look for VWAP. Just trend continuation, man. It's putting in lower highs. It's a post-earnings move. I think it's similar to PayPal, only PayPal is going in the other direction. So I want to look to short pops there. I want to look to bounce off longs. PayPal still can't break 64.5. Looking like it might give up VWAP in here. If we start to see it bounce again, I might grab a reload on PayPal, but I don't love how weak the market is looking. It's holding green. The NASDAQ's holding green, but it was a false break at the open on the NASDAQ and now pulling back in. That feels bearish whenever you do that kind of a false breakout. Didn't get any of the chip names short because they didn't pop with the market. When the market popped up, there was none of the chips giving you much of a short opportunity in there. Let us know what else you guys are looking at here in the chat. I see people talking about Tesla, NVIDIA, broken only. Yeah, there's just no bounce here in NVIDIA to be able to get into the short. We're going to have a quick look at AMD as well. But so the market really starting to bleed.
All right, let's go, man. We are finally here, man. We're back in the building right now. So let's go with the big boys. 68 right here. Let's see what happens with Uber as we get those 20s right now. Coming right back in for Uber. Nice downside push here. Hopefully that can go. Tesla trying to go, giving me some good love down there into 228.30s, but we need a little bit more than that. We're short at 228.80 right now, so it's kind of been a flat trade here on these reloads for the short, but you know, we're making a little bit back there. We'll see if we can handle this trade, but it's Uber right now. That's been a decent spot to get that short. Let's see, we're already out of half of it because it comes down into the 50-period moving average. So some good outs here for Uber. Let's see if it can get a little bit lower. We always play it back to VWAP. So 64.10. Let's put a bid down there. Oh, I'm already at 64.17. Okay, so we'll put another one there at 64.06 then and see if that can go. It looks like Tesla trying to push that upper bound right now. It's funny because I like
VWAP.
Yeah, I like the long there. Yeah, it's fine. I like the long there today as well on Tesla, which is funny that I'm now short. So if this comes out, we'll flip it back and then we'll settle down on Tesla and go over to Adara now.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade, always playing catch up in the market, missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else, pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial.
Yes, sir. I like free, to be sure. I also like VWAP. We'll see if it ends up being the indicator that wins. Anyways, look, Tesla.
Does.
Well, it is, you know, at the end of the day, like, you just use the things that typically end up working. But it's also the 230 level on Tesla was the first support. And if we're trending down, I'm going to look for the same area as the first resistance. I got in at the quarter mark last time. I'm in underneath the quarters here at the 30. And if it breaks back out above the quarters, I think Tesla's probably just gonzo back into the upside. So we'll see what happens here. Oh, looks like PayPal lost VWAP, guys. Yeah, PayPal lost VWAP, so we're out of that one. First bounce good. Now we just got to wait for 62s. If we continue this downside, I think we might get a chance. Pre-market, opening range bottom, 62.5. And then 62 even is the level on the daily chart for PYPL. Still a strong stock. If it reestablishes VWAP, we can always go back on over to it. Nope, Tesla does not hold on in here. So we had that first bounce, but just like that secondary play on the long, first bounce good. First time you short 230s would have been good. Second time through, looks like it wants to break out. So want to make sure we stem the bleed. The best trades, oftentimes you have to be a little bit patient for. Let's see it on the back end of it. Instead of the front end, shorting it on the way up. If it wants to fail this level, maybe catch it on the way back down for a better opportunity here. And it looks like it might just give us that.
Come on, Tesla. Come on, Tesla. Yeah, we're short here. We didn't stop out at that same level. Remember, Neil and I will trade completely different levels, completely different share sizes and everything like that. So, you know, just because one of us gets out, sometimes we'll hold them on for a little bit longer. Different strategies right there. As there goes PayPal. Let's go. Or sorry, there goes Tesla. Big trade alert right now. It's $1 in the money here on the biggest position for. I mean, we had multiples of shares here. So, all right, here we go. 229, let's go. We're almost green on Tesla on this trade. So let's see if we can get a nice downside push right now. Plus, we're ringing the registers right now as Uber flushes into 05. We're here, baby. That's your chicken dinner winner stock of the day right there. Will be Uber by far, I feel like, for me, a nice move downside. And as we make a little bit back on Tesla, yes, sir. All right, there it goes, man. Tesla, nice move back in. That's Uber. This is Tesla as it just fades out into that 230 area. So we have it right now. We're short at 230.13 as it goes down right now. There it goes, man. Flush City here on Tesla. Although it's trying to hold, I'm going to get another piece out right there on Tesla. It's $1 on Tesla. It's 50 cents on Uber. And it's so far so good, Adara.
Just be aware here of Meta, META. This one moving down much like the rest of the market. We do have this story circulating around here this morning. The Texas Attorney General did secure a $1.4 billion settlement with Meta over this biometric case. This is actually the largest settlement ever obtained from a single action, from an action brought by a single state. Basically, the suit was alleging that Facebook had unlawfully captured biometric identifiers of Texans, and now the Texas AG has secured this $1.4 billion suit. So Meta here losing this case with regards to this biometric situation, guys.
I haven't really looked at Meta, but that is a huge reversal. $7 down in 3 candles on the day on the 3-minute chart here. So not looking good for Meta. Not going to chase any bottoms on this thing, but got to look for this one to be a possible short. Proctor's coming into VWAP, so we liked it at that 50 level, but now it's coming into VWAP. We'll let it get there, let it do whatever it wants at that price. It'll be at 160, so looking for a false breakout on PG at 160. I understand Serve is going. I know that's a small cap that a lot of people are looking at, but want to be patient with it. I'm not really looking to catch the bid on Serve, and it just rejected a big top here. While I'm on Proctor, be careful with Serve. It just rejected the 23, back underneath VWAP, kind of a head and shoulders going on. If that starts to break down, I've paid for locates on Serve to look for a short opportunity. But it looks like Proctor coming into VWAP as we speak is going to be a bit of a play. Still can't catch a bid, NVIDIA, and haven't gotten short any of the chip names. Thought we'd get pop and drop. Still waiting for the pop portion of that. But here comes Proctor back upside. Still 6% down, but we wanted VWAP in this 260. We get a failed break of VWAP, going to short it on the way back down underneath. 3 minutes, we're going to get jolts. And I'm reminded of, I think it was yesterday, you can get wicked out on those sometimes those numbers. So I want to be careful with that jolts number. If I'm not already in position in the next minute or two on Proctor, I'm going to wait to the other side.
Oh boy, man, oh man, are we doing it right here for everybody live again on the show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves. We now have $2 in the money on the cash cow that is Tesla so far here today. So good trade. We just take that out near the bottom of the day. Let's see if we continue to fade. And we just put this out right here. Remember what I told you guys? Like, we're actually going to put on risk into trades that we like. There's Uber right there, 64.50. We waited for it to have its little move. We also wrote down the word patience there today. So we waited for that play to come in. Again, there's Uber, 64.50. It's a good one. The TQs is not breaking long. It's breaking short. So we'll have to look at that one. PayPal down to 62. We'll be patient and wait for that one as well. And then there's our Tesla, 232 long. That one came in right away off the pre-market, and we're able to get out of that. And then we bought it into 230, and now we are short on PayPal, ringing it for $2. What am I talking about? Sorry, Tesla. $2. Yeah, good call on that one. $2 now for Tesla. And we just take a little bit of that out. But here is our Uber trade. This is pretty much, honestly, this to me is again another one of those like NFT trades, because what I mean by that is it's perfect. It's like a picture perfect kind of teaching point right there. And it was wait for the trade. We wrote down 64.50, went against us. I don't think we would have got out anyways. My stop on this 64.50 trade was up there at this high, which was 75s or 78s. So we're giving it about 30 cents or so worth of room. And now, of course, as it breaks down lower, we have that 50-cent spot. And we have a good little level here for Tesla. And we'll just wait to see what this number is because, man, if this can get lower here, I'll put, you know what, I mean, just for, you know what, we'll put it here at 228 again. See if we'll take another $2 on this move down because you don't want to be caught in a sort of a number that is way offside. And then all of a sudden your trade that at one point was looking good is no longer. But here we go. Come on, Tesla. We're bidding 13s. Lucky number 13 down here at 228. Giving us, there it is, Neil. The money's coming in right now on Tesla and on Uber. So have your patience, have your play, and let's go have a Dara for the number.
About 10 seconds here until we get some pretty key numbers. The JOLTS job openings for June expected here. We're looking for an estimate of about 8 million, previous 8.14 million. We also have CB consumer confidence. Previous number for this one was 100.4. Looks like this consumer confidence number here was revised to the downside. So we had 100.4 previously. Now that we're getting a June print of 97.8, the July print here coming in at 100.3. So it's going to be above the consensus of 99.7 and the forecast of 100. We also have JOLTS job openings coming in a little bit higher than expected, 8.184 million jobs, though our previous number was actually revised higher to 8.230 million. JOLTS jobs quits here coming in a little bit below expectations, 3.282 million versus the estimate of 3.45 million. Just to recap here, we have upward revision for JOLTS job openings for May, lower revision for CB consumer confidence for June, and both of these numbers coming in a little bit higher than expected. S&P 500 continuing to chop and churn here around this range on the SPY. Slightly positive here in the day. Quite a few names to keep an eye on here, specifically a lot in the tech space as we get into a pretty big earnings evening tonight. CrowdStrike on watch here, down about 7% near lows of days. There are some reports here from CNBC indicating that Delta Airlines is looking to seek compensation from the company after the cybersecurity company had this outage from last week. We also have Pfizer here. This one basically flat on the day, but on watch as it had earnings this morning. It did beat here for adjusted EPS and sales. Keep an eye on PFE.
In the money. So, yeah, good number, I guess, if you're short Tesla. As this number keeps on going down right there, we're short at 230.20 and just chilling. There it is. It's your $3 winner to come through right there. So hopefully you guys are seeing all of this. And there it goes even lower now, $3.10, Neil. Still going lower and lower and lower on Tesla. Again, and like I said, this was, you know what? The thing is like when you trade bigger shares, you know, when you lose, it sucks for sure. But we're not losing. So that's the whole point, is to ramp up your shares when you see fit, right? And I think that that's something that all of us can always do better. Have confidence. But like we said, it's been definitely a tough month. You know, for traders. I mean, I see it in the chat. I was telling you about around here as well. But, you know, when it's hitting on certain levels, you got to be able to make the trades, right? And I feel like we did that here for Tesla. We had a rough start on it. We were down on the stock. And we'll still be down. Well, let's see where we get. We'll be flat on the stock if I get out right now. Let's see what happens here on a downside push right there. Here we go for Tesla. Like I said, man, P&L number one today will be Uber. But we only have two trades, Uber and Tesla. And NVIDIA. Sorry, we're flat on NVIDIA, which was, thank God for that one, that we did not hold. There's certain amounts of being stubborn for something, and there's other things that you just got to get out of the way. And right there, NVIDIA, we should have reversed it like we did on Tesla, but we did not right there, as the Emperor today is having no close. Down there, big time move flush. I don't know if you're looking at AMD or anything, Neil, but I haven't. So
I have looked at AMD.
Yeah,
it's not as bad.
Not as bad, okay.
So AMD, oddly enough, it's wicking the bottom right now. Yesterday's lows is catching a bit of a bid. On that number, if you think about JOLTS revised down, discretionary maybe not good, probably hitting the S&P a little bit there, as the S&P was strong and just bounced off going from red to green. But Procter got it at VWAP, scalps them out on the number. But I have eyes on the chip names right now because they're trying to catch their first bid. AMD at the bottom, ARM is the other one. that we like. ARM is looking for its first real bounce down at $135. If it can get back in like 37, 38, it feels crazy to say. That looks like a crazy one. And then NVIDIA all the way down here. Like, look at this stock, is unbelievable. This is the second green candle on a 3-minute. If it gets back up, forget about VWAP for a second and just look where it consolidated at about $109. And I think that's where you got to play. Procter, as I said, we were able to get a bid as it hugged VWAP, but now you're stair-stepping to the upside. So first one, we weren't able to take any profit on. We were able to get a quick little 50-cent move and then a breakout on Procter. So it's still at VWAP, but I'm going to back off of this one for sure. We just got a super chat. Thank you, Jerlewis.
Yes.
For the super chat there, asking your thoughts on Microsoft earnings, which are after the bell. We got a lot of fish to fry before we get to the bell, certainly there. I'm cautious. We talked about this with Danielle Shea. I'm not a huge fan of the expectations that are on all of big cap tech right now. And you're getting punished for slight misses big. I think it's like you're getting twice the regular move to the downside when people are missing in tech in this earnings season so far. That's the thing that I read. So it kind of has me cautious for that one. Not sure your thoughts there, Sean.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it. So we did get some out on Tesla there at 227. That was a good out. We now do have our patented like 15 to 20% left now on Tesla. We'll talk about it. But by the way, we do have a banger right now. Remember I said we had a red stock? There goes NVIDIA. Nicely done to the upside right there. No red, no more on NVIDIA as we take 70 cents off of that move back to the upside. Today is a good day. They're up.
Keep an eye on QXO Inc. here. QXO is the ticker for this one, trying to recover down about 80% right now. So this company has been backed by Jared Kushner, amongst other investors. Basically what happened here is they registered for 2 private placements with the SEC. As reported by Bloomberg, this triggered a whole bunch of selling because we had other new shares available. Trying to recover here, bouncing off of this $12 area, but just keep an eye on QXO. Decent volume, about 9 million shares traded on the day for this one, guys.
Oh, don't sleep now. PayPal is trying to get back above VWAP here. It doesn't get to 62, so no trade down there, but decent bid forming. If it can hold higher lows, make a nice little trend. I'm going to quickly show you the trend that I'll be observing, at least for now. There it is, from the open to the last couple of dips. If we hold that trend line, we're back into the longs on PayPal. The only thing that looks very strong right now that I'm watching is PayPal. Everything else looks like a bit of a dog. If you guys see something strong in the chat that we're missing, it's just PayPal for me that I'm looking to pick up right in here off of this early trend line. We're back into Procter. It just lost VWAP a second time here.
I mean, we're not missing much over here. There goes NVIDIA right now, $1 in the money on NVIDIA as that gets that bounce from there as well. Someone in the chat there said, like, why am I dollar cost averaging into Tesla? Thing is like, it's tough to explain. Exactly. I do what I want to do because this is who we are. You know, we do what we want to. You know, it's like this. It's like if Mickey Mantle's walking around, the Yankees don't say, hey, you can't go into the dugout. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's stuff like that where it's like you got to have confidence in what you're doing. You know, Austin Matthews says, I want more money. The Maple Leafs hand a blank check. You know, that's what happens, you know, so you gotta be able to do that stuff. And honestly, you guys would see that even more if we were able to show share size, but we don't do that here. So that's why it's tough to look when you're seeing me dollar cost average into this. My average price when we went up here was around here. We put on our biggest shares at the VWAP level. Sometimes I'm not sure of what level we're at. So it's like me putting on my first position, like 10% of a starter position is 100% of a position for others. And the other way around, my 100% is 5% for others. Like it goes both ways. So that's why I don't want to necessarily answer those kind of questions other than the fact that I've talked about this here on the show many times. And thanks for Ramin for telling me that. She said, tell them you do whatever you want. So I did that. But at the end of what's true, right? So that's my wife. Is Marissa telling me to stop shorting? But sometimes she does. At the end of the day, you got to have those feels, right? We talked about that when Obi was here. And it's like, we definitely know, I definitely know when I'm in that sort of realm of, oh my God, I'm making things worse. I'm making things worse. I don't like this. What am I doing? What am I doing? Stop averaging in, stop averaging in. You know, I've gotten so much better at handling those feelings. And it's just like that's what's been the big game changer. We talked about it, man. there's 15 traders here on our floor. There's 3 positive months. You know, it's like, it's not an easy month. You know, you had to take some risk here. Now we're getting into some of this stuff. And I just think it's like, it's just one of those things where you got to keep on going. You got to join real trading. You got to trade in our platform, and potentially you got to look at other markets sometimes when it's not popping off. Go read this, 135,000 views right now on this tweet. So go read this. I'm going to put it in the chat here, and it'll help understand sort of what's changed for me here. We put this out in February. And, you know, it's about building, and a lot of this was because of my main guy over there, Sharif. It's about building community, fostering camaraderie, and trading literacy, getting better at trading, having less FOMO, positive vibes. You can't always be mad at your trades. It's more about being positive about your trades. It's like, sure, that NVIDIA went against me. Oh, well, we're right back to where we need to be. Let's go again. And so that's what we're doing. We're very confident, and that's why we're here. You know, and that's why we can do those things. And that's why we don't talk about the leaderboard as much anymore, but that's part of it, right? It's like you want to make sure that you're hitting your goals, right? And being confident in what you're doing. And I think that that's ultimately will lead you down the path of success. And I mean, I think that, you know, the trading that I do for sure on the show, and I'm not going to speak for everybody because they can tell you if they're up or down or whatever their nets are. I speak from the heart, from what I'm doing. So I just want to make sure that all right. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that. And then part of being a showman is because, hey, without it, this show, take it over, Neil. Let's go.
Yeah, you just try to make your own trades, man. Like, that's why we try to outline it. Like, look, Sean doesn't trade off a trend line. Like, I'll show you, like, the entry off of PayPal. It's simple. It's going up. I'm looking for another opportunity to go long. It didn't hold VWAP. It holds the trend. We buy the dip into the trend. We'll take some out into 64, and maybe it continues to go higher. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. So what? But the other thing is, you know, like Proctor, it wicks VWAP. I'll get out. And then I'll jump back in when we get a chance to jump right back into the short off the 160 level. So it's been a morning where it has worked out. We'll see if we get some continuance here. But this market is heading downside.
Yes, sir.
So the way I see it, like, we're looking pretty heavy. We're looking pretty weak. I do want a chip name short as we are starting to work back into downside. You know what? Let's make sure I get profit on PayPal here into that even dollar. There's a seller underneath 64 evens on PayPal. So I'm going to see if we can't scalp some out in the 90s before we get another test of that trend, which I have to redraw. You have to hit save, which I did not do. And Tesla right back at VWAP. AMD tagged VWAP. NVIDIA is finally starting to go up. It doesn't go anywhere near VWAP for a short. That's the one I wanted, was NVIDIA, and it doesn't even get within $1 of that VWAP. So it looks like that's even weaker than anticipated. Same thing with ARM as well. But we just got back into PayPal. We're going to see if we can't rinse and repeat this trade along the same trend line, just sort of sticking to the things that were in the plan from this morning. Proctor, PayPal was going to be in there. Tesla, certainly, I like longs on Tesla. It's doing a little bit better off of VWAP this time in terms of strength. See, it wicked it. Now it's holding above. Needs to get back underneath and fail at this price, which this high is 230.40, where I got wicked out before. But again, that's my style, right? Like, it'll lead me to, you know, days where that looks genius because it goes higher, and other days where it looks terrible. You just have to do you. But if we fail it again, it's 230.35 is this top. If it fails it one more time, I'll try another shot at this short here on Tesla. PayPal still looking relatively strong as far as I'm concerned. Proctor still working to the downside. And at some point, I'll probably look at Tilray. And shout out to everyone in the chat that's interested in their earnings. I hope it's doing well. I really do.
Yeah, it's up. I was looking.
It was up like 8% earlier, which is more than I could. SOFI was a great short to pop. I actually should have thought of it in the other direction. That if SOFI wasn't up very much, it was probably a good opportunity to fade it if it tried to go. And that's exactly what happened. But it is what it is.
All right.
What are they doing? You guys can't hear this crazy rumble we got going on. I think they're snaking the pipes.
They're trying to fly some drones to see these trades over here. Shout out to Canada coming through again. All right. Yeah. let's see what happens here with Tesla. I mean, I have the same levels here to see if it breaks higher. We're shorting this name. We're back into the short now on Tesla, and we just banked out on it, right? So, you know, we'll see if it wants to get in. We just shorted right here 230. That's our price. You can see we have 230 flat right now, and we're looking. So that out was 229.60. The first out was right at the 50 period, which is only 80s. Then that last one was 60s. So we can get 60s right now again if we wanted to. Let's see if Tesla wants to go back to the downside. We're still pushing lower on the market right now. Just a little bit of an update. And again, in transparency and everything, the number one P&L name here today, I can check, but it's going to be Uber as that comes back in. And again, it's like what Neil said, plan your trades and trade your plan. At the end of the day, it's about having integrity and looking down at your net and being able to figure out, is what I'm doing working? And that's what it is, right? And so right there on Tesla, it just came out. It breaks that high level, we get out. We'll be down on Tesla today. You know, we tried to get that play back. We did good here. It was fine. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we'll lose on that last little take there and be down on Tesla. So I can check it during the break for you. And again, tell you, are we up or down on Tesla? What's that looking like for the month? You know, but again, we're here and we're doing fine and we're really happy with the trading today. We've got $1 on NVIDIA right now. We have a flat, 34 cents on Uber, but I'm almost out of this position. I have 5% left of this Uber trade. Wish we had a little bit more, but honestly, these takes here at the 50 period and then again at VWAP and the 200 period. So as Neil said, I try to keep trading as, the funny part is that we're having such a good month and all the trades are so simple. And I think to me, that's the kicker, right? Is make the simple trades, you know, and if you can make the easy trades, then you know, you'll be much more relaxed, much more in control, and be able to have bigger months because when the easy trades work, you feel better about putting on more shares. You feel better about basically about everything. So, you know, stay in your pocket, stay in your zone, as Neil said, and know who you are, right? I mean, that's why I try to talk this way, is that I'm trying to tell you guys about the stocks that we have, the winners and the losers, and then what our days look like and what our months look like, right? And so I feel like I look at the chat, and every time I speak like this, I mean, you guys are blowing the chat up. So I'm going to keep doing it, be as real as possible. And again, you can ask us any question you want. Tag us in there, and we'll get going. There it is, Adam, right there. Simplicity is the key. Stick to your plan. I mean, that's why we started the sticky note. I'm trying to tell you, I'm just simple man, simple ideas, you know, and these have led us to where we are right now. So, I mean, it's great. It's great. The show's been great, and we're going to continue to put on, hopefully, some winning trades and good entertainment for all of you. And it's 10:16, and as soon as we figure out what's for lunch, we'll tell you what that is, too. What's up, Hey Davis?
What up, Hey Davis, as well?
Hey Davis.
It's Dumpsville on CrowdStrike, Deepak.
Oh, no.
And I don't think, look, I said don't anticipate a bottom on CrowdStrike, by the way. It's going to let it happen, man. I do want to maybe pick some up on my personal account more, but after these lawsuits, let's let that crap settle down because I doubt Delta's going to be the first. But in terms of simple execution, Novavax is down way more than 10%, 22% to the downside right now. Yeah. So it's obviously short sell restricted. The uptick rule is in effect. That just simply means you cannot enter a short position by removing liquidity from the bid. So you can't hit the bid to go short unless the last print was up. When that happens, sometimes you get good relief rallies. It's a decent short float. Here is $11.5, $12. It gets down to that price. I'm just looking for a bounce play. So it's still trending down. Every even dollar from here to 11.5, I'm going to look for a bounce on Novavax. So we said that might be the case. Now it is on Novavax. It's nasty. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the news is, 22% to the downside, unless you're catching trend short. I like that trade. You saw it happen the first day on CrowdStrike. It was a great bounce. It did it the second day on day 2 of being SSR. I'm going to get back into some more PayPal. It's really starting to hold this trend to the upside. So I still like PayPal. Unfortunately for me, Tesla's the one that's going to drag everything. We had a good bounce long. The short does not work twice. Now you see it break it out. I'm going to stay away from this. It's already made a rounded bottom, now trending back up at the level we're kind of thinking long. So get out of Tesla. You'll see it a couple of times with those wicks, and now looking like a strong name. PayPal staying in the pocket to the upside. And NVIDIA, It's still creeping up. I think it's going to get in here to VWAP the way this market seems to be going. Nice V-shaped recovery. The question is what happens at VWAP. I got NVIDIA, AMD, and ARM, but AMD's above and looking strong. So that leaves NVIDIA and ARM. ARM's at VWAP as well, and now doing the wick above and looking to fail underneath. They had to pay for locates here at Real Trading Forum, but every day they're 1/8 of 1 cent per share. We can trade all the markets, we can trade all the stocks. Every now and then there's going to be a pay for locates to be able to short a name. We're thankful that we're able to do that really quickly. It takes about 30, 40 seconds. And if you think it's too expensive, you don't pay for the locate.
Okay, so honestly, I typed in, I just here to be honest, like I said, it's too bad because you almost came back to a monster winner on TQQs. I put in the wrong symbol. I put in .am, and by the time I flipped over to it, we had already taken VWAP, and I didn't even have the order out. So if we can get back up here for the TQs, we want to be shorting this. It's really too bad because you almost got back to some more real right there on these TQs. So there it goes, man. Nice move back into the downside there. I see a couple people tagging Neil, tagging me. What do you guys want to ask for there? Yeah, sired for exiting trades. Yeah, that's very, very possible. We could definitely do that. Chef Joe, yeah, we always speak, I always speak facts. We both try to right here. I'm glad to give you guys that advice, and I still want to get that ride in the Cybertruck. There's Chef Joe, so thanks a lot for that.
I'd love to check out the inside of one.
Yeah, my wife saw the Cybertruck yesterday in Sherway.
Yeah? Nice.
Yeah, she said it looked pretty good. It looked actually better in person than she thought than it did online.
Really?
She still likes the Rivian though, but she saw the Cybertruck. My daughter saw it too. No, she didn't. My daughter was not with her. Right there. Okay. All right. So just a quick little look here. We'll still short that TQQ if it does come in. Uber's still a good one, man. Nvidia's still $1 in the money. So yeah, how do I feel about getting into the Tesla long? Maybe. Just hold on a second. I want to look at Meta right now because I did hear that story come through. I didn't think the fine was that big. I think it was $1 billion.
$4 billion.
I think it was about $1 billion and change, 1.4 billion there. So that's absolutely nothing there for Meta. See how my charts don't even switch. Come on, Meta, let's go. There it goes, right there. So I actually heard that story. I wasn't sure about it, but then it came back into that 465 level. We did get a question about Microsoft earlier from Jer Lewis. And the thing about this, Jer Lewis, is, these are the ones. So I feel like Microsoft is the biggest name at risk. And we sort of talked about this before. And the reason why I feel that way is because they're the ones that have claimed to, and I feel like it's tried to be baked in, that all this profit was going to be somehow hitting them with Copilot and all that stuff. And they were one of the first adopters, of course, to get this AI out to everybody with the investment there in ChatGPT and OpenAI. So the thing is like, if they come out and something's wrong with the monetized number there for AI-related products, look, we know cloud's going to be huge. Azure's going to be huge. Google already showed that. Google was a monster, right? Meta's going to be huge. Amazon's going to have a huge cloud number as well. They're all going to be big. But the thing is like, what if there's some kind of disappointment there in where are the revenues coming from with all of this investment? So we'll see if Microsoft does have a big number behind it, but it's under the 50-period moving average. I think 400 is definitely in play. That probably plays tomorrow. So let's see about Microsoft. 400 down to 400 is only 5%. Like you're going to get that move. But if earnings are sort of as wishy-washy as they kind of were today, then I don't really know. PayPal's as expected. So the earnings call here for Softy is 5. So there it is. So we just talked about that. 5% gets us into 400. So there you go. So if that does come through, that's great. It's AMD that comes tonight after market. That's 9%. That could be something. But look at this snooze fest. There's Pfizer expecting 5, getting 1.3. Procter & Gamble expecting 3, but getting 5 to the downside. So that's why that's a good look right there today as well. So all right.
That's why SOFI was a short, maybe.
Well, I talked about SoFi being hot garbage from the jump. What is it at right now?
So it tried to break out.
Yeah,
but remember, it was a nothing move. It tried to break out. It got almost to $8, $7.95. I didn't think about the other direction, which is probably a mistake because you could have popped and faded this. I was looking for pop and fade on chip names today. There was no pop. This gave it to you. So unfortunately for SoFi shareholders, not a good earnings season. Meta has over $50 billion in cash. Just wanted to point that out when you're mentioning the fine. It's like, well, you guys can do the math, whatever percentage that, it's a very small percentage of their cash position. So that seems like, I know it's going down, but the market's going down today. So the trend line broke on the reload here of PayPal. I'm not thinking reverse into the short on PayPal. I'm still overall bullish on this name, but it needs to reestablish the trend to get back into scalping it off of these levels. I do believe it's 1020, so we're locked and loaded. Let's get an idea of what some small caps are doing at the screen with Adara.
We've got the Russell 2000 here trying to hold on to positive on the day, having a little bit of a bullish candle here on the 3-minute chart for the IWMs. Let's see if we can climb back up here for the Russell. The theme of a lot of today's small caps is going to be larger short float, starting with JetBlue. This one does have a smaller market cap here, just around $2 billion market cap. They did beat here for earnings per share and sales for their Q2 2024 report. They forecasted a little bit of a decline here for Q3 revenue on a year-over-year basis. Still up about 30% for JBLU. Again, we've got about a 12.8% short float for JetBlue. Next up, we have TWOU. This is a continuation play from yesterday. 2U Education doesn't have any new news, but on Thursday they did announce they were filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They've got a short float here about 9.8%, total float of about 2.6 million shares, market cap under $10 million. So certainly some numbers to keep an eye on with regards to TWOU. Last but not least, LUMN. No news for Lumen. This one here is up more than 15%. We do have a larger short float for this one as well, around 13.8% short float, and a market cap here of just about $2 billion. So larger market cap, but short float to be aware of for LUMN, guys.
Lumen. That's too bad about those. Ah, man, yeah, Newman, yeah. That's funny. It's too bad about those TQQs.
I love it.
That's really too bad. I mean, we already talked about it being, pretty much our number one, not pretty much, the number one stock, and we hit it. Like, my orders are right here. Look, my order was at 92, then I had 79. I thought I was going to get 79 by the time I went over. I offered 79, missed it. Then I offered 76 and missed it. And there it goes to the downside. So that was going to be a good one. I'm going to now cancel those. You had to hit the escape key. Cancel those orders now. If it rips back up, we'll reanalyze it. But that was definitely a missed opportunity right there. We got to look for something short, man. We got to get something short. Maybe it is Microsoft, but I'd rather stay away from them with earnings coming through. But they are trying to break lower. We had a banger of a trade on Microsoft the other day as well, when that stock faded a little bit. So, we still have very much capabilities of putting some damage on the board for Softy, but man, that TQ trade really is wrecking me a little bit right there. Like, I'm thinking about going short even right now on a break lower on Microsoft, trying to get in, but yeah, man, 429 is just so much better where we were. I mean, I still feel like you can get that. So, and I don't even know if we want to be short on Microsoft right now as it's up on the day. So I'm going to sort of scrap that idea. I do appreciate all the talk about it in the chat, but at the same time, I'm going to hold off on anything to do with Microsoft right now, of course, because it's earnings day as well. I mean, look what Uber's doing right now. Let's go. It is trying to get to the flush side right now for Uber. So I think that's something that we could talk about in our meeting for sure, is to have a signal go on when we are, like when we have our full position, Neil and I could hit it. And then when we're out of that trade, something will trigger again when it notices that we're out.
An in-out button.
I think that's great because I always push it. But I do think that it is a good thing that we all do it. We even should do it on the midday show. It does help you guys. And that's the one thing that I was noticing, and I was talking to Brendan a little bit about this when I was watching it on Friday. I feel like there needs to be some more acknowledgement by us, the hosts, of the trades that we're in, which ones won and which ones lost. Because when you guys are watching it, and you guys tell me if you want that as well, more telling you like, okay, we're in this trade, we just got out, we took a 20-cent hit, because it happened so fast. And even me sitting there, and especially with Obi, and sometimes you can't even, and even these guys on the midday, can't see the titles sometimes on the charts, and then it goes by so quickly there at the bottom that it's hard to know, So it's like, instead of us just saying we're out, it's almost better to say, okay, now we're flat on that stock, So I think that is definitely a good idea, and I want to thank everybody in the chat for that.
Yeah, and just as you can see now, Novavax, 25% to the downside and still trying to go. We said we wait for $12. So here it is. Quickly becomes, here we go. So it came down in tag 12.10, so it gets into that 12 range, holds a higher low. There was a buyer from 17, stepped up to like 20s. When it stepped up to 20s, I got 22s. They started at 17, so I'm not giving it to the low. I'm giving it to that 17 level. It's like 5 cents plus any slippage that you get, which will probably be a penny on it. It's already got an offer stacked at 30. See if we can't get into 12.50. If it breaks that, looking here, which was 12.75 the last time you had any buyers in Novavax. Nasty, nasty move for them, down 25%. So I'm giving this one to 17. It's short sell restricted, but that doesn't mean it can't go down. That just means to hit the bid, you need that uptick rule. I do think, we talked about this in the chat, chill vibes, you're right. AMD is looking much better, relatively speaking, to NVIDIA. Both of them are trending down. NVIDIA at the lows and can't even get to VWAP. And then ARM is the other one that I have on the radar. ARM is now starting to consolidate off VWAP itself. So you got this bottom here, 136 and a 137. I want to grab the top end. All of a sudden, ARM's having trouble getting back into the top end. So it just happens that ARM is setting up here. Might just be a bit of a flat bottom break on ARM, and I got to grab it off of 136 here. So the only new trade for me is Novavax. I want one of the chip names. I don't think it's going to be NVIDIA. I don't think it's going to be AMD. I'm now pivoting over to ARM because it's the one at VWAP for the retracement trade. Good looking day today so far for the shorts. No questions asked. And the ES is about to go, any second now, it's about to go red and drag us further to the downside. So there's ARM breaking down. We'll see if I can pick up some 136s. We'll be on the offer right back through here, give it to the local high. And then NVAX, Novavax is the newest trade. 2 green candles in a row for the first time in an hour. Good for you, Novavax. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
that company is
it doesn't feel like the
problem.
It doesn't feel. Yeah, we had that on our notes today, didn't we? I don't know anything about it. I was just like thinking to myself, like, what exactly is this market doing? Like, I feel like we should have been taking a lot more than this on some of these names. Like, I look at Apple right now, and I just feel like, you know, the market's doing this, and Apple's kind of just hovering around here. I feel like Apple should at least be down into the 218.50 area and looking to break the bottom. So I think there could be a trade here, but Apple's up on the day. If this was minus 0.38, I think I'd be hammering this right now. I'm just not convinced that the market wants to do anything at this level. I mean, here's a broader base, right? And I think that when you start to, okay, here goes NVIDIA. So we do have a sick long right now on NVIDIA that just popped in, guys. All right, now we go. Now we go. This is the big trade of the day right now for NVIDIA. It just comes in right there. This is your big boy trade of the day. And here we go again. Let's go back up to the upside right there for NVIDIA. We waited at that 107. It's a big trade alert right now. P&L number 1 now on the show is NVIDIA, and it's a long. We just managed, Neil just said the shorts are working out good. They are, but there it goes right now for NVIDIA. Yes, sir. Let's go right now on this trade. That was a good one. That just popped in. I was going to talk about something else. Then all of a sudden the P&L goes cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So again, we will hit the sirens for you. Do that, drop down the cash, and again, be as honest and have as much integrity as possible by telling you that that was a big position. It came right into that level and filled us. That's why we're excited about that. It rips up the board. There it goes. It's NVIDIA. It's 10:30. You never know when these trades are going to come in. To my point yesterday about Adara and the 1 p.m. time. And Adara and I talked about this after. She's going to talk about that on her show on the midday and what she's meaning with all of that. But there you go, man. 10:30, the biggest trade right there put on NVIDIA. And we just sat there and took that as a falling knife, man. We knew we wanted the 107. And as Neil said, trade your plan and make it, and as I said as well, make it as simple as possible. That just falls right into that, into our lap there. It's NVIDIA, and that was a good one. How you doing, Ramin? Fantastic. I like that. What's up, Adara?
We're going to start today's crypto update with a bit of a spotlight on Ethereum. We do have, of course, the spot ETFs for ETH starting last week, but also today is officially the 9th birthday of Ethereum. Its Genesis block was mined on July 30th, 2015. So this was the thing that marked the launch of the blockchain and some of the features associated. So right now, basically flat on the day here, as you can see, Ethereum trying to recover a little bit from that bottom just above that 30 or that 3,000 area when we had that fall after the introduction of the spot Ethereum ETFs. But just a quick little Ethereum spotlight on the 9th anniversary of the mining of its Genesis blockchain. Bitcoin here in a little bit of a range. We're seeing a bit of support resistance here, that 64,000 level, coming up to 68,000, and now trying to come back to the bottom area of that range. It's second straight cancel to the downside, though yesterday it actually did have a touch of that 70,000 level. So Bitcoin right now continuing to figure out some resolution in that 64,000 to 70,000 area. Ethereum slightly positive on the day here. Bitcoin down about 3.7%, almost down 4% here, just hovering around that 66,000 area. Rest of the cryptocurrencies and crypto-related names are going to be a bit more mixed. Solana down about 4%, BNB down about 2%. Then we have Ripple up about 2.5%. So a bit of a mixed picture right now for crypto, guys.
Yeah, I looked over. Mar is not doing much for anybody.
Is that 20 or
no,
what?
they're both trending down, but it's like it's not at 20 yet. Coinbase isn't at its support level yet, but it's close. You're 1% away on, I think 1% away from the 20 level on Mara. So you're starting to catch a bit of a bid here off the 12 level on Novavax. It just finally made it to 1250. So I went long when it held 10s, and then a buyer started at 17. I got in above the 20 level at 22, scalped to the 30 halves, and then in here at 50s, we just got the offer. Last target is going to be up here at 1275 or so. ARM's about 50 pennies in the money. We're going to ring the register on that one. It would have been, if NVIDIA set up, we would have taken that. If AMD set up, we would have taken that one. AMD still trending to the downside. I feel like if there's a bounce play, I want AMD long if there's going to be a bounce in the chips because it's looking a little bit strong. I know it's an earnings day on AMD, but you've got wipeout bottom, and it's trying to put in a higher low after taking low when everything else is looking a lot weaker. So it might turn into a short at some point, but I think if the market does hold a bid here at any point, this would be the one that I would want to the long side. So trying to keep things in the pocket. It's been a good morning. So far, so good. PG, Proctor's still hanging out in the pocket. And for Meta, we haven't really talked too much about Meta. I know they had that big announcement, the fine. That's feeling like a nothing burger. Meta's looking decently strong here. Market's at the lows. Meta's trying to creep above VWAP. And I think it might have trapped some shorts underneath the pre-market low. So I got this one on the radar for potential bounce. I don't want to give up on PayPal yet. It didn't hold the trend line that I liked. Now it's starting to hold VWAP, but there's just not a lot of movement on PayPal. It's going sideways here. Not a lot of crazy action. I want to see the volume pick back up on PayPal before we get back into it. Dwindling volume. Bit of a choppy action. I think the best you could do would be to try to catch scalp trades off the bottom, which is like 63 quarter or so, and then just scalp them or maybe scalp off of VWAP here. PayPal up 9%. A lot of sideways action. A little bit more than the anticipated move, which was like 8.5. It's not really breaking any backs in either direction. I think that's why it's going sideways here.
Yeah, exactly. We indicated that about PayPal earlier as well. So good look on that one, of course. All right, NVIDIA, we turned it positive for us. We talked about how we were slightly down on NVIDIA. We turned it positive, but no longer the P&L leader because we have other names, man. It's still there with Uber. I know Neil has an ARM trade there he's working on as well. That could be a good one. All right, so we'll wait on this one, but we are back into the short for NVIDIA now. It did break below. I'm only giving this 25 cents. So I have a very, very tight stop now on NVIDIA because it's not doing anything at 107. This could be one of those capitulated bottoms. It's now down 4%. We have seen it bounce from here before. This would be a really bad decision to load up short right now. It needs to fail these bottoms, right? And once it does that, then we can go. So here it is. We'll take some profit. There it is. There it is. And by the way, it's right back now. We just talked about it not having the title, but we'll see if it can hold it right now. We just take some outs there in the 70s as it comes back down. We are talking about taking a 1-to-1 or so trade. We told you our shutdown was at 25. So right there, we take 75s and 71. And I'm actually bidding again. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, we got 71 again. So we just took out about a third of our position for risk 1-to-1. We got 71s and 75s. So it's right here, right now. We gave this trade to you when you just came to me, it was against me. So let's now wait to see if NVIDIA can really sing back into the downside and make that a special trade. All right, Uber at the lows. Again, if you're looking for trading resources, we have our watch list, which is the best watch list in the business. And then we also have, maybe I'm biased, but the sticky note here that's been really creating a lot of action. So there it is right there. It's Uber at 64.50. We tried to short the TQs, and man, if we had gotten that one, then you wouldn't even, it would be a beach day. I'd just be like, Sharif, come sit here immediately because I'm out of here. But we missed that trade by literally no pennies. I kept punching and missing it. So we were there, but should have crossed it down. So I guess we missed it by 1 penny each time. And then the PayPal 62 long just hasn't hit for us. We don't have any PayPal trades. And then the one that didn't work out was Tesla long at 232. But the good thing about this Tesla long at 232 is, did we get that NVIDIA bid down there? No, we did not. We're bidding 59s. It went to 61. Okay. Hopefully that comes down. Why are we bidding 59s? What I was going to get to there was Tesla. Let me bid another one. Let me bid 64s there because we want to make sure that we get out. The Tesla trade will be my red name on the day. And it's, again, because we went long at 232 there, but we got out. We got out of half of our trade. Then we tried to defend 230. That didn't work. And then eventually we got stopped out right here. It's this stop out that wound up basically being our red there because we had averaged it in all the way down. We didn't get it all the way out. We thought it was going back up to the upside. So then we got out. Then we started the short, which was good. Then eventually we basically got back to flat. And then lost it on that last short. So that's a short at 330, and that's an out at 330.50. So eventually we lose our way a little bit there on Tesla, which is fine. We wrote down patience that we wanted to get back into the levels. So let's hold out there. It almost gets to that level, but my mistrade here, and we did it live. Oh man, now that would be $1 in the money. So that's too bad. We've canceled those trades. Let's see what winds up happening. It looks like NVIDIA might want to take out that 107 quarters. And if it does, then we're gone on this bounce back in the market. Oh, that's too bad about that futures. I hope some of you got that trade there on the futures as Tesla trying to fade off of 231. All right, it's 10:40. We'll get back with Neil and we'll go to the board with Tesla or with Dara.
We have outside strength in quite a few sectors here. Finance pretty much green across the board. A lot of these names notably green here. We also have strength in commercial services. We have health services to the upside, energy minerals to the upside, transportation pretty strong here as well. Consumer services not bad either. Keep an eye on Starbucks in this sector because they report earnings after the bell today. In terms of more mixed to weak performance, health technology a little bit weaker here. Merck sidedly to the downside. Pfizer also a little bit weaker. Both companies reported earnings this morning. We also have some weakness here in producer manufacturing and P&G, Procter & Gamble, leading the consumer non-durable sector to be a little bit weaker on the day as well. Of course, we have to talk about these tech sectors. Amazon, AMD and Microsoft both on watch. They're reporting earnings tonight. But to start with the electronic technology sector, a lot of these chip names on watch. NVIDIA trading a little bit lower after an Apple research paper cited that Apple's AI updates are going to be using some Google technology. So NVDA to the downside. Keep an eye on these chips with AMD's report in mind. A little bit more mixed here for consumer services or for technology services. We do have all of these Mag 7 names in the sector, a little bit weaker, but some strength here in Adobe, ACN, while CrowdStrike sells off a little bit as its ongoing outage saga continues with a Delta suit, guys.
Yeah, not looking good for them. By the way, Eli Lilly lost $800 today. So this is a big area for Eli Lilly. It spent half a year effectively channeling between 800 top and then this $730 bottom. And then you see what happened when the stock broke out. Look how quickly it's coming back into this range. For myself, I sold some shares at $922.22. But I'm looking for, I know I always do that, but I'm looking for this to get right back into that support level before entertaining a dip buy on this one. So down another 2 points today. The trend is clearly to the downside. I don't have to tell anybody. I mean, if you can't tell that that's trending down, then get a new business. No, I mean, Sharif laughs at that. But no, I think one of the things that'll happen is oftentimes you can get like roped into I like the stock. And it's like if you pull back far enough, it's like everything is in an upward trend that's good if you look back far enough. And sometimes you have to at least zoom in a little bit to notice what's happening locally there on Eli Lilly. And I don't love it, but down around 725 to 800 is a buy zone for me. Got out when break even broke out an arm. Looked like we were heading back into VWAP where we get a shot at like 137, I should say. But if we get wicked out, I don't mind retesting this trend. I only want to be net short this. If I'm long a chip name, I think it's going to be AMD today. Novavax, Novavax is now holding at 1250, which is good, but it's not making that next breakout to the upside. So we're still in this one off 22s. I haven't moved my stop order yet, but the longer it fails to make another push through 50, I might tighten this one up. An SSR bounce, you kind of want it to go faster than this, which means it's still looking very heavy, and it might be an opportunity to just jump out of that trade and take what we are able to get on Novavax. PayPal, still not really doing a heck of a lot. Yeah, this is a bit of a PayPal is going to be disappointing one. It's probably a scalp trade, as I said, but I'm not really getting any scalp entries on this one. Lumen apparently making some power moves. Shout out to you, Scott H in the chat. Ronaldo also talking about LUMN. Don't mind going over to something if we can catch a mover. This is now breaking $3. Yeah, wow, that's not a chase. Okay, let's try to figure out what's going on with this one. I haven't heard anything in my ear on Lumen, but clearly you can see it's extending pretty harshly here. I want to check to see what the float is on Lumen. The first thing I care about is float. Float is only, it's a billion. A billy float, 14% short, and they're reporting after market next week. So they haven't reported yet. Wild move. $3 isn't resistance. It's more like $4 in here. This gets to 4. I'm going to pay for locates. Actually, I should do it now.
All right, new position alert. We have Amazon right now. It's 20 cents in the money. Let's see if it wants to work. We're trying to go long on Amazon, trying to buy that little dip. I don't know, it's strong into a weak market. So that's something that we like to look at right here. Here's Amazon coming back in. So let's see if that will work out for us now to the upside as we'll hold on to this NVIDIA trade that's not really doing too much. Watch out for 107.50. We talked about that break. Let's go Amazon. Maybe it can get back up to the upside and take this 50 period. I'm actually waiting here. So we're long at 47. I do have an offer at 65, then an offer at 80s. So this is 80s, and then 65 is sort of where we haven't been able to get through. It's really been 61 or 62, but I feel like if we can get going on that, we should be able to get 65, right? I mean, there's nothing stopping that. So hopefully that will come back up to the upside. It has been a top. I mean, we could change that top to 60s right now and just
wait a minute.
You know what? Yeah, let me just put it right there just in case.
Oh, they're free.
We want to be a little bit greedy if we can, but at the same time we'll take some profit. So there it is, getting some out there at 60, and then here it goes. Amazon, the newest position right there now, 25 cents in the money and trying to go higher. I guess taking that 60, we could have got 65 after all, but there it is, a nice move back to the upside for Amazon as we hold on to that one. But the good news is we got it, and I haven't looked yet. So let's figure out what's for lunch. Okay. Sharif keeps saying cheese, so I think he's hoping that there's some dairy here today. Today's lunch is not dairy-based. It is chicken. Oh, teriyaki chicken kebabs. Okay. You got a little sauce going on there. That's a little, oh, look at Amazon right now as that continues to go to the high side. We just put that one on for 30 cents. So that's in our pipe and being currently smoked right now. So hopefully that will come back in there. With steamed rice and green beans, that's what's for lunch. Have a good day, it says. So right there, we are having a pretty decent day right now as well as we wait to see our last little sort of hurrah here on NVIDIA. All the way to the upside right now. We're short at 23s and not great. So if this takes this out, we'll get out. But there it is. It's a nice little push back down now for NVIDIA, but it still needs to get a lot lower than where. Was that a bid? Why did I just get filled on the bid there? We don't want to do that. All right, so we are in NVIDIA right now. Oh, that must have been a keystroke, 32s. I don't know why we're bidding that. Let's go. We're short 25s right now on NVIDIA. That was, I don't even know what happened there. We still have our full position. I guess we got hit a little bit. Come on, NVIDIA, bring it down here. If we can get some fills, we would definitely like that one. Amazon is making that move higher, and there it is. We just bought at 44s or 48s, out right there at 80. For that 50 cents. Let's get another piece out right now if we can on this name. That is Amazon. So a reloaded, not a reloaded, a first take there on Amazon. And it looks like it'll be all right. So we'll see if that one wants to work. We only have 5% of our Uber position, so I'm really not even paying any attention to it. It is making its move back. We should reload this if it gets back to 50. If we liked it before, and I don't think we don't not like it now. Let's see what happens with the futures.
Yeah, we're just trying to bounce here. So NVAX came right back to break even, where my stop was. I got out. I didn't change my stop. The second I was out of this stock, someone showed up for 100,000 on the bid. Like right away on the bid at 15. Now you're starting to see it go back to the upside. So I might take, if I can get in, if I see that size follow it up, I might try to get in there again. But unfortunately, you can't know it. Like literally the second it got back to that low, it waited, I'm saying it, whomever put that bid in there, waited till it broke the bottom. And the second it went that 1 penny down, they popped 100,000 on the bid. So I was already out and wasn't fast enough to get back on there. So I want Novavax. It's down 25%. It is SSR, short sell restricted, which we do like for a potential catalyst there on Novavax. But I had to tell you, I got wicked out of it, no questions asked. Someone played some games and then decided they wanted to get people out before they put their bid and tipped their hand on NVAX. We still like that VWAP area on ARM, which it's back into, and AMD still looks relatively strong, but it's starting to fail underneath VWAP as well. So yeah, all the chips are looking weak. The market's red. Still want to be favoring the south side. I do want to get back into Novavax. I got my eyes peeled. If I see him step up, if you see me long like a random price, it's probably because that buyer stepped the order from 15 to like 20 or 25, and I'm just going to go like the penny or two in front of that order and go long. So that's what I'm waiting for. They haven't ticked up yet, but if I do, we're going to pounce.
I mean, I'm silent right now because we have a monster on. It's NVIDIA, and it is now huge to the short side for this trade. Put it up right now. We told you where our stop was, 107.60. Oh boy.
Push it to 100.
I'm not pushing anything, man. I'm just putting my orders out there and it's following, man. The market likes the trade ideas right here, right now. It's a banger right there for NVIDIA. So there it goes, man, which was once a negative stock. Says Stone Cold, as it just keeps on falling right now. And there we go. Oh, man. Yeah, I feel kind of like Dak waiting for that big contract right now. Let's just wait to see if NVIDIA goes to the downside, man. It's Jerry's world, and we're all just living in it, Sharif.
They lost a big
all
player.
right, man. Here we go. Let's go. Bang. Big time trading. Oh, wow. That's a good trade for me there on NVIDIA. Thank God the heart goes boom, boom. The other one here, too, is Amazon. I don't know. I was thinking about throwing in the towel here because I was like, oh, wow. If this market tanks, the amount of money, I mean, we've already gotten out right now of about 2/3 of our NVIDIA trade, as that just came right into like 107. Like the fact that all those bids started filling up was like good enough for me. There it comes in. We'll take another piece out there at 107.11. And we can wait now, man. This Amazon trade is another banger, looks like here for Amazon. Let's see if that can continue to go to the upside. But you can't do anything unless you listen to what your money's saying. And that's why this segment is called Money Talks.
DXY here pushing higher off that base reforming on the daily chart around that 104.30, 104 area. We had quite a few very interesting economic data prints to talk about today, with the JOLTS job openings here coming in at 8.184 million for June. This was above the estimate, but also notably they did raise the prior number here. So we actually had a revision here to 8.23 million for the month of May. CB Consumer Confidence, this was also a revision here to the downside. Originally, the prior print for June came in at 100.4. It was revised down here to 97.8. Our July print coming in well above that, and the estimate coming in here at 100.3. We also did have earlier in the day the S&P Case-Shiller Housing Price Index Composite on the year-over-year basis. This one coming in a little bit above the expectations for the month of May, 6.8% versus the estimate of 6.5%. Both of these numbers are going to be a little bit below the prior number of 7.3%. Huge event to keep an eye on tomorrow. It's going to be the FOMC rate decision at 2 p.m. and the conference with Fed Chair Powell coming at 2:30. FOMC did release a statement saying that they have started their meeting today at 10 a.m. as planned. So we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow at 2 p.m. Should be an exciting day for both the market and the U.S. dollar, guys.
Irons right there as NVIDIA just keeps on going to the downside. And my lovely wife right here just sends me this. NVIDIA, you got to go lower. She's at the hair salon. It's starting to go to the downside here at NVIDIA. So let's go, NVIDIA, as we get ready to go to London. Eyebrows done. Nails done. Hair done. Credit card. Problem. There we go. Let's go. It's NVIDIA, Neil. It's $1, baby. And again, it's on those share sizes one more time. We do it. Look, when you believe in your trade, we talk. Oh, no. When you believe in a trade, you have to. It's not that. I mean, I do like my color these days. I mean, I got some nice color there in the sun. We are waiting for a little makeup reload over there. So we got that nice Italian olive skin. Oh boy. All right. But there it is. Oh, that's Amazon. What am I even showing you guys Amazon for? Amazon's already been cleaned up. It's right here. There goes NVIDIA to the downside. So, you want the hot dog cannon? All right. If I can find it. Where the heck is the hot dog cannon? There it is. All right, that's for you, Hamster One. Thank you, Artemis. I love everything you do as well. Yeah, I don't, I hope that you guys are enjoying yourselves today.
It's one of these in the market today.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know the NASDAQ's only down 0.5%, but there is not a single green candle on the NASDAQ 15-minute chart.
What's that for, Ramin?
Not one. So, look,
that's fine.
Everyone's got to do their own style, but to me, staying green today has really meant just get out, be willing to get back in. Sometimes that's how it is. You had that double top. We had the first short, stopped out, second short, stopped out, still holds VWAP, jump back into it. If you make a higher low, then it's 136.5 into 135. And so be it. That's just going to be, it is what it is. Still haven't gotten back into that Novavax, but we'll take our shot in that when it does come. Tesla, whether or not we get a chance to get back at this one, I don't know. Maybe it'll set up off VWAP for me, but that's fine. Today's been a good day. No questions asked about it. And, catching bids has been dangerous wherever you are. The only stock right now that I'm looking to catch a bid on is Novavax. And that is, I call it a gimmick trade because down 10%, it's like a market mechanic thing. If it holds a bottom, sometimes you get a nice relief rally, especially if it's a heavily shorted stock like Novavax is, but it hasn't really given you much of a bounce. There was one off 13. You can see there was a good bounce off 13 even. It didn't really get to 12, but kind of a decent bounce off 12. And then if we get lower, I'm not thinking even dollar at the next low. It's down here. The last line of support is 1165 or so about 1150. If we lose 12, if the market loses 12 on Novavax, I'm going to look for a bounce play at that price. So it's either here at 12 or at 1160 with only 5 minutes to go. Hold on to your butts because we're headed to the downside. We'd love to see you in the chat. By the way, if you hear us talk about names in the chat, engage with people, you got to be a subscriber to be in the chat. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and then Nader, we can talk all about JBLU. I haven't looked at JetBlue in a hot minute. I'm going to assume they're making some power moves here today because that's why you guys bring these up. 22% to the upside. There's a bull market somewhere. There's always something going up, even on a down day. This is what I like. This is what you call a nice parabolic move up. I don't wonder if it extends again. Sometimes I like the reversion trade. Just want to see what's going on with it on the daily. Oh yeah. 750 on the daily, once, twice. That's 4 times at this level. You break out 750 or 760. This is actually 760. I think it's got a lot of room to rally to the upside if it can go, but that's almost like a short till it ain't at $7.60. Good luck. You got a strong runner here, but it's running right into the top of resistance. I wouldn't be chasing it up here, seeing this daily chart.
Thanks to Bear vs. Bulls for bringing this to my attention. Mr. Westermeyer asking, do I mind if he ships the 8-ball today? Ship it ASAP. I will not be. I'd be disappointed if it comes while I'm gone, but not really. I'll be loving to see it when I get back. I'm only gone, so I cut the trip short because we got to come back and do another baseball tournament. I'm just gone all next week, and then there's a holiday in there as well. Or no, not for the U.S. I don't think there is. Is there? No. No, there's not. So 5 trading days. Yeah, if you can ship it here, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Please do it. Please do it. It'll give these guys some content, so that's great. Bring it in. Let's get that 8-ball going. Thank you again for all of that, man. It does mean a lot to all of us here. Again, all right, man, 10:57 right now. Sharif was a little bit, he showed me that trick about how many days there are in the month, right? And there's 31. So 31 here in July. So like I said, man, it hasn't been the greatest month. I've had a great month, but it's been tough trading. And we'll see if the last couple days here it can really get some P&Ls kicking, right? And so I feel like when that's the case, especially when it's a rough month, I feel like there's a lot of pushing near the end of the month to try to get certain numbers to where they are. I am not going to be a part of that. I don't do that. I'm just going to make the trades that I see, put them on. And so far, so good here today when we'll have Uber will be the biggest one, NVIDIA will be the second biggest one, and then Tesla will be the biggest hit. And if Amazon goes up, then we could have we'll have the top 3 P&L names, but also the worst one as well. So, yeah, putting us right now red on the day. Let's see what happens with this NVIDIA trade, and we'll go. So, again, this month we've had 2 red days. So I don't plan on that being something today. We could have just even put on a small position for me, but large for others. We could have just put on 100 shares right here and been positive. So we're we won't talk about our net, but it's a couple Starbucks runs that we're down. So we are completely fine on that one. And that's it. What's up, Hey Davis? I don't know, man. We got to fundraise to go to Kentucky. It's only a 10-hour drive from here. We may go to that. Tonight I have Brian Shannon on the market recap show, which should be great. Come on, NVIDIA. We scratched our itch right now. We talked about possibly being down on the day. That will change very, very soon. Come on, NVIDIA. If we could just get back to where we've gotten filled. We're bidding right now. Why am I bidding 106.46? All right, I'm going to bid 106.50, see if we get that fill and put the rest to bed. So, hey, man, it's been a fantastic day, as Neil said right there. I'm sure as many of us can attest, not the most fantastic month, but the month is almost coming to an end right now. So that's good. Here we go. Come on, NVIDIA right now. Push, push, push. Uber 30 cents, Amazon flat, NVIDIA 65. There's only 30 seconds left.
It's 30 seconds, but the market is obliging us by making a fresh low right at 11 o'clock. And so a couple of things. We're breaking down on Procter. If we get one more push, we get low of the day, 158. Arm's about $1. We're looking for $1.50 to $2 on that trade. And there was a question in the chat saying Sean and Neil got some fresh cuts. I have to give some. My brother was in town. He actually, they're flying out today. My brother and his 2 kids. They're staying with myself and my parents. My brother cut my hair for the first time since I was like 13 years old. And he did a pretty good job of it, I have to admit. When he did it when I was 13, it was so bad that my mom took one look at my head and said, "You're not going to school like that." She held me back from school and took me to the barber shop. But, you know, at the end of the day, we were young. But I think he did a fantastic job. So thank you for noticing that we all got haircuts today. We appreciate you. Hey, it's Learn to Trade time. We're going to be back at 2 o'clock. Aftermarket, you're going to have Microsoft, you're going to have AMD, you're going to have Sean on the recap show, which should be a big one. But let's go get them, Sharif and Adara.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to